Hello, everybody. This is Joseph Pasek, and welcome to the Fired Up Network. Welcome to the flagship show of the Fired Up Network. And we got a great show for you tonight, but I'm going to reveal tomorrow. We're going to do a Super Bowl spectacular where you'll have former three-time Super Bowl champion Randy Cross with the San Francisco 49ers, Drew Eubanks, Anthony Kay, plus Steve Carney and many others. That's tomorrow, a Super Bowl spectacular. But I want to take this special opportunity, say belated happy birthday to myself, Daniel Spencer, Marty Roberts, all whose birthday was yesterday. But here is the biggest news of them all. Biggest news of them all in Fired Up Network history. We have partnered up with Whirl. WURL.com. And this is a press release by Whirl. We are thrilled to welcome Fired Up Net as our latest syndication partner on Whirl Network. Check out the next edition of right now, what you're watching, Fired Up Live here on the Fired Up Network. And Whirl is going to distribute Fired Up Network to over 300 million TVs. Yes, TVs. Part of the Fired Up Network also is FEM. We're going to begin this week's show with Courtney Riddell, the Renaissance Mama. Here we go with Courtney.
Hi, friends. I'm Courtney. I'm a performer, speaker, and a writer. I'm a mama to 3 crazy boys and a super sweet dog. I decided 12 years ago that I needed to create a business that worked for me instead of me working for it. I'm a multi-passionate entrepreneur who may be considered a serial entrepreneur by some. But then I realized that all of my businesses focused on connection, community, and creating an incredible experience. I cannot wait to share with you how to make small but mighty changes in your life to affect your overall well-being and create a life and business you want to get up in the morning for. That's right, my friends. I am the Renaissance Mama. Hi, friends. It's me, Courtney, the Renaissance Mama, and I am so excited to have you here today, and I want to let you know we are celebrating. Yes, we are. What are you celebrating? What are we celebrating? Well, let me tell you. I have officially turned 40. Trust me, if you asked me a year ago if I was going to announce that on a show and then publish it and share it with everybody, I don't know if I would have done that. I have always been a person that 40 has been a big milestone in my head. I think I might have built it up bigger than it actually was. My husband's a few years older than me, and if you ask him, I was counting down the days when he was turning 40. I made it this huge big deal. We've always joked about like when I actually turn 40, what that's gonna look like. He actually called me yesterday. He was away and he said, "What's today?" And I said, "What is today?" And he's like, "The last day of your 30s. And like I said, if it was a year ago, I might have had a different feeling about it. But now I am welcoming it. I am pumped. I'm excited. I am so thrilled to share with you what I have learned the last year, that last year of my 30s, and how ready I am to get into that next year, the next leveling up. I am so excited. So I don't know if you know this, but a year ago, this time when I turned 39, it was a huge aha moment in my life. I had really done a year of sort of, not soul searching, but I was really trying to figure out what my next steps were. I knew I was like so grateful for so many parts of my life, but there was this piece of me that was not quite fulfilled. I didn't know what my next moves were going to be. I just knew I needed to do something. So when I turned 39, I had this thought of like, wait a second. If I'm here at 39 and I think 40 is this magical moment or year or day or whatever it was in my head, I knew by the time I got to 40, I wouldn't be where I wanted to be. I felt like last year I was just waiting. I was waiting for this like big moment to happen. I was waiting for something to come along. I was waiting for that next part of my life. So last year, I finally invested some money in myself, and y'all know how cheap I am. So that was a big, big step. I bought this course from my mentor, a course that I had been on the fence about for probably 5, if not 10 years. It was huge. I finally invested in myself. I got clear on what I wanted to do. I started this show. This show was the big moment. I wanted to do something. So I started the show and things just kept growing and expanding from there. So 39, yes, it kicked me in the butt and it made me think, all right, what's next? But it's funny. I was at an event the other day. It was this women's event and it was all these women making changes in their lives. And I was there. Originally, I was going to do a talk. It was a very short talk, 5 to 10 minutes. So, you can't jabber on too long like I sometimes do. But it was this talk and I was going to go on stage and I was going to tell them all about how to get comfortable on camera, how to, use my musical theater background, how to make fun reels, all of that stuff, which I definitely could have done. But I was literally about to press live. I was pressing the button to go live and I decided that's not the message I wanted to share today. I wanted to share with them how I made these changes, how at 39, I decided, wait a second, I'm not waiting any longer for anybody else. I'm going to make the changes that I want to make. So I shared my experience. I shared exactly what I did. I shared how I invested in myself. I share how I got super clear on who I wanted to be, what I wanted my life to look like. I shared that I took this step, this risk and started a show and how it all started growing and building. I did that share. And these women, thank you. I loved it. Thank you so much. And it was funny because I got off and I thought, did I even make sense? I felt like I was just throwing out information at them. I thought I was just saying these things and I didn't know if it was going to help or support anybody, but I was contacted after the fact by a few of those ladies and they just said, thank you. Thank you for the share. Thank you for the push. Thank you for the realization that we can do anything. So that's what I wanted to share today. I wanted to share with you today some of the most important things from this past year, how they've changed me, how I feel like I've grown, how I feel like I have done all of these incredible things, and how I'm hoping to hopefully inspire you guys to do the same. So like I said, 40 to me had always been this milestone, and it wasn't the age itself. The age itself, I feel like, yeah, we can feel like we're any age at any time and feel confident. But it was the fact that what I thought 40 should look like for me. It was the fact that this expectation of where I thought I would be at 40, I knew I wasn't going to be there. So that is what was sort of looming on my 39th birthday, was how am I going to get to that version of myself or that place or that feeling. And that is what I'm sharing with you guys today. I want to share with you some of the best lessons I took away from this year and go from there. Okay, so the first thing that I did, and I've been very careful when I've been talking about it so far because it's been a realization that I think I just had, but it's also been a really important one. So during that talk that I shared with the ladies and how I made all these changes, I kind of stopped the live and realized I didn't make any changes. What I actually did is I took action. And some days it's going to be small actions. Some days it's going to be big actions. But I took action. When I was sitting there, my 39th birthday, not 100% comfortable in my own skin, which is crazy since I was 39. Come on, get over yourself, Courtney. But here I was, not just 100% comfortable of who I was, where I was, what I was supposed to be. So I took action. I finally invested in myself. I said, you know what? I've done the years of being all those different versions of myself. That's what started the Renaissance Mama, because I was so good at just hopping in to a role, hopping into an opportunity, hopping in and taking charge and getting comfortable and getting good and staying there, just kind of getting by. And like I said before, just sort of waiting. Like the world was supposed to show me what was next, or an opportunity should pop into my hands, or something should happen. But last year, I knew that wasn't going to happen, that I was done waiting. If I wanted to make a change, which I did, I took action. So that was the best change I could ever make. And I took action by believing in myself. I took action by getting clear on that version of myself, who I wanted to be, how I was going to show up. I got very clear on so many things. When I took action, I told you, I paid for that course. I did the work. I was at all the meetings. I was, really into it. I met some really great community partners. We worked together. There was one friend who I'd never met before in my life, met online, and she pretty much changed the concept of what I wanted to do. I was getting stuck. I didn't know what was next. And it was just out of the kindness of her heart. She's like, why don't you try this? Why don't you try that? And I did those exercises, and it was all of a sudden like, whoa, wait a second. This is what I want. Yes, this is what I want. Now I can see it. And I drew out my mind maps, and I got very clear, and I got excited. So I took action by doing that. I took action by pressing the record button and filming my show. Remember, it started as a podcast. Now it's a show, which I love, because of course I love being on camera. That's one of the things I really enjoy doing. That is one of the things that I get up in the morning for, and I am so excited about. So yes, that made sense. I was able to connect with an incredible network, the Fem Network. Yes, Fem, yes. And it's only going to grow bigger and get more incredible and more amazing. But it wouldn't have happened. None of it would have happened if I didn't take action. So that to me is the biggest lesson from last year, and one thing that I know I will continue to do this year, and then. But if you want any change at all to happen in your life, big or small, personal or business or family, relationship, any change, you need to take action, whether it's small or big. Take those actions, take those steps, those consistent steps, and then the change is going to happen. The change is going to happen, and you're going to feel it and be motivated and ready to take more action, and then more change will happen. The second thing that really helped me this year and kind of figuring out what my next steps were and who I wanted to be, where I wanted to be, kind of to really address that feeling that wasn't feeling 100% great. So when I turned 39, I had spent a year doing all these little trials. Every month I would try something new. I would take pieces from it. I really enjoyed myself, but it left me at the end of 39 being extremely grateful for what I had. Like there was moments and pieces of my life that I've said and so many times say, I can't believe I have. I'm so happy. I'm so grateful. I can really appreciate it. But at 39, there was just this little nagging feeling. And if you feel something like this, it literally is just that little pinch or that feeling. I don't even know how to describe it, but that's what I was feeling at 39. And I took the action. I told you that, but I also needed to figure out what my version of success was going to be. I needed to get so clear on what I wanted, on what it looked like, what my life looked like, who I wanted to show up as, who I wanted to, feel like and be. What version of myself did I really want to become? And I think it's so easy to look at people's social medias and look at reels and, videos and say, oh my gosh, well, they're doing this, so I better do that. Or look at that picture of so-and-so, they're doing this, well, I better do that. And this person is my mentor and I love her and she's incredible. And this is what her version of success looks like. So I better do that. But that wasn't serving me. That's not what I needed. I think that was actually where that nagging, poking feeling is because number one, I was looking at all these other people who had started businesses and how they grew and what was happening and how they feel. And they were like, oh, I'm so amazing. And I wasn't feeling that. So I got really clear on what my version of success looked like. I got very clear on what I want my perfect day to feel like. I got very clear on what my priorities are. And I can list them out, I can draw them, I can make them look pretty, and they may not be the same as yours. And they don't have to be. And I think that was a moment for me to really understand that yes, my version of success and my priorities right now, they're mine. They are mine and they might not look like everyone else's and I might not take the same path as everyone else. I'm probably not. I definitely am not, let's be honest. But I still want that success. I still deserve it. Everybody deserves it. But you want to get really clear on what that means to you, what it looks like, how you can really make it happen. Because if you don't know what it looks like, then what are you fighting for? What are you working for? What are you spending hours and, all this time and effort doing if you don't know what you want that end result to be? So I got super clear on that version of success. Since I was so clear on my version of success and what my priorities were, I was also able to really break down what kind of season am I in at a time. I got so clear and it was evident that there were certain seasons that I am going to hustle. I'm going to work. I'm going to put in the long hours. I'm going to, really do what I need to do to achieve certain goals. Then there's certain seasons that I am going to create. I'm going to explore. I'm going to learn. I'm going to really, get those creative juices going, figure things out, start putting the pieces together. Then there's seasons that I want to relax. I want to spend time with my family. I want to make memories. I want to do all the things, spend time with my friends, fill my bucket. And they sometimes are longer seasons depending on what's happening. There's sometimes going to be times that things will overlap, but I got rid of the guilt. I got rid of the guilt of taking the time to do the things I need to do. I got rid of the guilt of, okay, I'm in this season, so should I be doing that? No. I didn't, because I knew what I wanted my priorities to be. So depending on the season, those priorities can change. And then, as we know, life takes over. There's some times that things pop up, family emergencies, medical emergencies, things that change your whole way of thinking, because here you thought you were in one, season of life, you're hustling, you're working, you're doing all the things, but like that, everything can change. But as long as you're clear on your version of what success is going to look like, you're clear on your priorities, and there's going to be times things are going to change around, things are going to switch around, and that is okay too. The third thing that really, really helped me this year was changing my mindset. I don't know if I had ever realized what power your mindset has, and the power of your perspective, and the power that you actually have to tell yourself these stories. I listened to a great podcast the other day, and it was all about that. Are there stories in your life that you have been telling yourself for who knows how long? And are those the real stories? And I think we all have them. I mean, let's be honest. When we're kids, we hear stories from our family of like, oh, this is what you were like when you were little. Oh, remember the time you went to the zoo and then the monkey came over and thought it was you. And yeah, that happened to my brother, by the way. But you hear these stories and you start telling yourself these stories. And then these stories become ingrained in you. They become a part of you. They, shape decisions that you make. They shape how you potentially look at yourself in the morning. They shape how you decide to spend your days. They shape how you think about yourself, how you want to achieve things, if you can achieve things. So this year, it became very clear that there was a lot of stories and a lot of mindset changes that I needed to change. They weren't serving me. They weren't lining up with that version of me that I wanted to be, that I knew I was, that I knew I could become. They weren't going to help me along to help my version of success. They weren't going to help me get my priorities clear. These mindset stories, concepts, words, feelings, they were just all excuses. They were getting me blocked. They were getting me nervous. They were getting me, just thinking that I couldn't do anything. I think for the longest time, I was this version, this mom, and that's who I'd become. And then I was really great at hopping on boards and supporting people and volunteering. And I always wanted to go back to performing, but I didn't know what that looked like with a family and, but I also had all these great creative ideas. I liked creating things. I liked developing things. I loved teaching kids musical theater, teaching adults, how to get comfortable in their bodies and their skins. And I loved doing all those things. But there was always this part of me who was just like, no, but can you really do that? Because you haven't so far. Your mom, you stay home and you be with the kids, and yeah, you've started some businesses, but they didn't grow huge. They didn't, sell out. You haven't done anything that should be really rewarded. And that's where I had to change my mindset completely. I had to realize that I have learned so many lessons about myself, about how I do hop into projects sometimes that don't really serve me, but because I have this feeling to finish it and complete it and make things, good, and then I get comfortable, then I get good at something, so why change? I had to leave all of that behind. I had to get so clear on my mindset and the power of mindset. Not just, be positive and positive things are going to happen, but I think it was more of the fact of the reality of how much power what words affect you. How much power those stories you tell yourself hold over you. I was always waiting for that next opportunity that I didn't take action. I used to think when all my kids went back to school, that was going to be the time things were going to happen. Yeah, that's when I'd take my action. That would be my opportunity. The moment would arise, something would happen, and life would change. And then it didn't. Then we moved to a new space. Okay, so I was getting comfortable in the new space. That's fine. Waiting for that next opportunity. Well, then COVID hit. So no, we can't do anything during COVID. So waiting for that next opportunity. I changed my mindset. I can't wait. I needed to take the action. So mindset is one of those things that it's going to feel a little when you start breaking down some of those stories, especially stories from your past, especially things that you've probably held on to for way too long. If you're like me, because I was holding on to these versions of myself or these stories about myself or these, thoughts about myself that really were not serving me. So that power of your mindset and the power of your perspective. I did a whole episode recently how really when you look at a situation or an idea or a project or anything, you can look at it one way or another way or another way or another way. And every single way you look at it could be a totally different feeling. It changes the story completely. So for me, mindset has been something that I continue to work on. It is a work in progress. Trust me, there's lots of days where I go back to that old thoughts or feelings, but I know it doesn't serve me. So I know mindset can be changed. I know I have the power to change it. And that is the lesson I want to share with you about that one. The next thing that I have really embraced this year is getting better with my time management. And that's not just how I use my time or all the tools that I use. I've shared with you before, I love time blocking. I'm really into the big 3 right now, getting clear on my daily priorities and making things really just feel like I've accomplished more at the end of the day. I'm not talking about that. I mean, that's obviously a huge part of it. But what I'm talking about is my relationship with time. That I think until before now, I was very much that hamster on a wheel, just doing tons of things, just sort of getting by, just surviving. I remember years ago when I had 3 very little boys and I was running into one thing to the next. I had multiple businesses. I was on all these boards. I was just so busy. And people would stop and say, how do you do this? How? And my answer was, I just took one day at a time. I couldn't see what was next on the schedule because it would be way too overwhelming. And I just did that one day at a time. And I've done that for a long time. But I think that's also where I get into that just surviving mode. Things are just sort of happening to me instead of for me. But because now I've taken action, I've changed my mindset, I know what those priorities are, then time doesn't feel like it's against me anymore. Now I feel like I have more control of my time in general. I'm feeling more accomplished at the end of the day. I feel like I have a much better relationship with time, and it's not so much a barter system of like, okay, I'm going to do this here, but not here, there, and this and that. I feel like all of that pressure and that stress with time is now gone. So really helping yourself do that is, once again, those things I mentioned, getting clear on your priorities, know what kind of season you're in, and really using the tools that are available for you and how you can make time really work with you rather than against you. When talking about time, I was also able this year to make the realization when certain deadlines didn't make sense. I will be honest, last year when I turned 39, I told you I made all these action steps. I was like pumped, I was energized. So obviously I made some goals that by 40, this is what I wanted. But I didn't take into consideration the timeline. I didn't take into consideration what, 40 is amazing, but I'm also in the middle of 2 very big projects. So I don't know why I thought I was going to add all this extra pressure and all these expectations when really it didn't make tons of sense. So another way you can get comfortable with time is really looking at those goals you're setting for yourself. Are you making deadlines just because, things would make more sense if by 40, I made that deadline because it felt like that was the easiest thing to do. It's my birthday, so by my birthday, I want this. But looking at that full picture and what makes sense and how I can actually get things done, it didn't make sense. So making sure your deadlines align with your vision, align with your priorities, and align with that version of success that you're looking for. This year, I was able to walk away from a project that I wasn't really committed. I didn't actually want to do. I've shared this story many times, but I think what makes it so huge for me is I'm one of those people that if I start a movie or a book or anything like that, even if it's terrible, even if I don't like it, I need to know how it ends. My husband can turn on a movie and fall asleep. I need to know what is going to happen at the end. I need to get to the end. I need to finish it. I need to complete it. I have been in the middle of books that I'm like, I don't like this book. I have no interest in it. But because I've started it, I need to finish it. So I think that's where there has been so many times I'm nervous of making commitments to things because I know I go all in. I know I hop into these things and then I don't want to let them go because I feel like I have to do it or I feel guilty or I don't know what it is. Those are those stories that you tell yourself that don't serve you anymore. But this year was different. I will admit, I made the mistake. I hopped into something. I think because in my head, I was really just testing if I could do something. So instead of testing it with the actual project I wanted to do, I tested with something else. And I started down this path and I started working on it and I put tons of hours and effort. And then it got to the point where I started selling it. And I realized it wasn't the path I wanted. And I think before now, I probably would have pushed through. I probably would have continued going even when I didn't want to. But this year I wasn't like that. This year I stopped and slowed down and said, does this project align with that vision I have for myself? Does this project align with that success I want for myself? And it didn't. In some ways it sort of did. And I guess if I really wanted to make it happen, I could have made myself believe it did, but I didn't do that. I walked away from it and said, okay, then I am going to put my time and my focus and my energy on the project that I actually want to do. So for me this year, being able to walk away from something that I didn't really want, that I got myself into, it was nobody else's fault but myself. I thought, okay, I'll start doing this, and then it took over all the things. No, I said, no, thank you. Now I'm working on the thing that I love. And I got so clear on what that thing means to me and who is it for and how it's going to benefit so many people. I know I'm on the right path. But I think before now, I probably would have continued down that other path. So if you're able to really get clear on that vision of yourself and the success and all those things you want, then hopefully you can be like me and say no to certain projects that aren't aligned with that vision. Okay, I got 2 more quick ones because I want to finish this episode off. And I told you, I got to go celebrate. Trust me, I've got to celebrate this birthday. So the next lesson I definitely learned this year was all about enjoying the progress, enjoying the process, not enjoying the result. And I think this is so important for entrepreneurs. We try these things, we do these things, we go out on a ledge sometimes, and then the result might not be what we wanted. So then we get discouraged and then we throw all our work away, or we get angry at ourselves, or we get upset, but really stopping to enjoy the process, enjoy what you're doing and celebrate it. Celebrate, hey, I actually did this, or I'm doing this, or I'm working on this. Celebrate that instead of waiting to get to the end and then being disappointed in the results. Obviously, we want the results to be great too, but you really have to enjoy the process and then enjoy the progress and then get to enjoy the results. Years and years ago, when I was first kind of getting into theater, I remember a director said, you have to enjoy the rehearsal part. You're a theater actor, you have the audition process, and that is just miserable. I don't care who you are, nobody likes the audition process. You're literally putting yourself out there, constantly getting rejected. Sometimes you don't even get to speak. Sometimes you stand there and go, and okay, thank you, goodbye. And you're like, oh, I just spent my whole day and time and effort to do this, and now nothing. So the audition process is terrible. The rehearsal process, it takes time. It takes work. It's also where the creativity happens, the magic happens, but it can be a little sometimes because you're doing the same things. You're getting really nitpicky on things. It gets long and hard. And then there's the performance aspect. And if you're a performer, you're like, of course I love the performance aspect. That's where people are clapping for me. That's where I'm getting this gratification. That's where life is amazing. But for most times, that rehearsal portion is the longest part of the journey. It's the process. It's the progress. It's where the magic happens. So if you don't like that rehearsal portion, then you shouldn't be a performer. And that's how I feel even as an entrepreneur. If you don't like the process of things, if you're waiting for the result and you're waiting for the big things to happen, it might not. So you got to find the moments that you can enjoy the process, celebrate it, and love it. All right, so the last thing that I have really embraced this year is showing up as the person who you want to become. This time last year, right around the show, I actually wore this little dress because I was getting some headshots done. I didn't know what they were even for at the time, to be honest. I think I was like thinking about starting a podcast. I was thinking about things. I literally called my friend who does photography and was like, hey, can you take a few photos? I don't know what this means, but I want to have something to be able to share with people. She's like, of course you can. So we did. We took these photos. I wore this dress because I loved it. It makes me feel good. I was like, yes, yes, yes. And I feel like you need to do that every day. You need to show up as that person who you want to become. Today when I was like, I'm going to celebrate, I'm like, I'm going to put on this dress. I don't care that it's the middle of the week, in the middle of the day, I'm filming for myself. No, I wanted to show up as this person. I put on my fake lashes because I like them. I do. I really do. So what? That's the version of me I am right now. That's the version of me I want to embrace. So this is 40. And now what? Now I am excited. I am energized. I'm inspired for what is to come. I saw this beautiful message the other day from somebody when we were chatting about, how I was turning 40. And I was like, oh my gosh. And she says, hey, I just want to welcome you to the 4th floor. You have arrived. And you know me, I am visual. I was like, yes, the 4th floor that I can see. I can see those comfy couches. I can see me looking all good. I can see the confidence, I don't know, but I am excited for what is to come. So, my friends, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you enjoyed celebrating with me. I would love to hear from you. Doesn't matter what year you're in, but I want to hear from you. What is something this year that you have learned, that you've taken away, and you're like, yes, I'm going to use it going into next year? Thanks again, friends, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.
Well, thank you to Courtney Riddle. Of course, Courtney, um, first of all, it's Courtney's birthday today. So happy birthday to Courtney. Yesterday, Daniel Spencer, Marty Roberts, and myself, birthday. Happy birthday to me. I'll start singing for myself. Happy birthday to Joe. By the way, I just want to say thank you to everybody who sent me a call, text, direct message, email with their birthday greetings. Thank you to my family. Really great stuff, presents and everything. And thank you to Patricia, my girlfriend, uh, who's just simply amazing, who went out of her way yesterday and did a lot of great things for me. And ice cream birthday cake. Great stuff. Great stuff. Big up to everybody out there. Drew, who's going to come on later. Surprised he didn't give me a present, man. Drew Ebanks, the man of the people. Big up, Drew Ebanks. Come on. Smash up your face, man. All right. So we're going to be joined by somebody who was here a long time ago. And, she was just actually here a couple weeks ago and is going to make her return here. Hopefully, she joins us very, very soon here on the flagship show of the Fired Up Network. But until then, just want to say the big announcement. Fired Up Network has partnered up with Whirl. Check out whirl.com. They distribute to 300 million TVs. Fired Up Network, I mentioned worldwide, or globally wide, if that's a word, all right? And people in Canada, in America, in Greece, in Israel, in Spain, everywhere is going to watch. And by the way, I just turned 49. Aren't I the best looking 49-year-old? Look at this. Look at this. Nice haircut. Look at that haircut. Now, the eyebrows done. Look at the goatee. Shaved a little bit of goatee. Marty Roberts, shout out to you. You told me to shave the goatee. And what do? I follow the veteran who yesterday turned 62 years. He looks good for 62. All right. He looks good for 62. All right. So, again, happy belated birthday to everybody out there. And by the way, we're going to have a Super Bowl special tomorrow. We'll get through the time. Tomorrow, Super Bowl, of course, is Sunday. And for guys, Tuesday is Valentine's Day. Go out there and get your special someone a Valentine's present and everything like that. Valentine's Day, you can't forget about them. Valentine's Day, and spoil that special person with flowers, with candy, with chocolate. You know what I like, thanks to Patricia here, chocolate covered strawberries. Chocolate covered strawberries here. And check that out. Chocolate covered strawberries. Again, we're going to hopefully be joined by someone here to talk about Black History Month. Again, throughout the month of February, we're going to talk about Black History Month, and hopefully she'll come on sooner than later. If not, we have other programming to get to. So hopefully she's on here right now, just chiming in. Of course, 2 minutes late, and I have to. Yeah, It's 7:42. She's supposed to come on at 7:40, but better late than never. Black History Month. Samantha Walters from Lavish, listen. Okay. You're living the lavish lifestyle. I mentioned it's my birthday. It was my birthday yesterday. Aren't I the best looking 49-year-old?
Absolutely looking gorgeous. We're the best. Thank you so much, Joe, for having me on today. How are you?
All right, you're on. I'm great. I'm great. You're on because February, of course, we celebrate Black History Month. We had Drew Ebanks last week, and we're going to hopefully have each and every week here on Fired Up Live, the flagship show of the Fired Up Network, somebody to talk about Black History Month. But you were with me through thick and thin here for the last couple years. Okay, I don't know if you saw the big news. I don't know. So Samantha, we have partnered up with WURL.com. After the show, we're going to be, your face is now being seen by 300 million people. Brush your teeth. Did you brush your teeth?
Yes, yeah? I did.
It's not Crest. It's not Crest. It still doesn't,
spell
properly. Cool. See, I knew it's not Crest. All right. Check it out, WURL.com, world.com. Check it out after we've been partnered up, and they're going to syndicate us to 300 mil. We're on Roku. We're on Paramount Plus, the home of Victor Newman. By the way, Nick Newman, I challenge you to a guy who's better looking, but you slept with like 75 ladies. Never mind. All right, let's talk about Black History Month. Seriously, what does that mean to you?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, and have a voice on today's show. I'm super excited to talk about Black History Month. Everyone knows it, which should be a longer thing. It should be Black History Year. But yes, I want to acknowledge all Black individuals who, have made an impact in the past, that have, suffered in different ways or have been belittled. I think it's more about spreading awareness. And, I think that with a lot of things that are going on, especially having more Black representation in movies, in the Grammys that we're going to talk about today, even performances is really important in terms of, creating a better and more inclusive space. I know that you also you also have a child who's Black. What does it mean to you as well?
It means a lot. You gotta forget about, child. A person's a person, regarding if they're white, black, purple, red, green, yellow, whatever. You have to treat everybody equally and everybody the same. Everybody the same here, and it doesn't matter if you're black, white, or anything like that. People are people, and we talked about this so many times on and off the air. COVID last 3 years have been really, really bad here. And we're thinking people stay at home, they go out, they celebrate going outside and breathing now. Now you can't even take the TTC without watching behind there. And there's more crime and more violence. And what's going on in this world? Look what's happening in Ukraine. Look, devastating last week with the earthquake and there in Turkey and everything like that. And a roundabout circle, life should matter. Every life should matter here. But we talk about Black history and all that throughout the years, and I know your mom, your dad, and all that lived through torture. Put it that way, okay? And you as a kid and going through Canada, and what have been the struggles for you regarding, dare I say it, your skin color?
Thank you for acknowledging that. I think there's definitely has been a lot of lack of opportunities in certain spaces that weren't inclusive, and some aspects, even if it's on a microaggression level, where it's just a minor little, or something that's like a stereotype. These all definitely take a steam on the way I go about, being belittling myself in certain spaces, just because I don't. I'm definitely thinking, like, not even definitely thinking, but even of this month, I've been having a lot of conversations with some of my friends who are not Black, just so that I think they're a little bit more open to understanding, which should be all the time. But even about, voicing it, speaking up, and, kind of being like, this is not just because Black a little bit more, you know what I mean? We have feelings too, and you're right, Joe, when you talked about respect in everyone. And we're just, in this aspect, I know when people say, Black Lives Matter or this, right? We're just saying that they, a little bit more, right? Because it's at a disadvantage. But yeah, like that's, I think, I can't even speak for my mother, or my family, but I know that they've definitely faced a lot of different, lack of, as I said, opportunities.
Have you? Okay, I'm not going to give away your age or whatever, but let's say the '90s. Okay, we'll start with the '90s. The '90s to today,
Yeah.
2023. So that gives away 30 years. Okay, have you seen any regression or progression here? Have they? It seems like we take 2 steps forward and then 12 steps back. Okay, so
Mm.
have you seen the same thing, or are you positive in, let's say, growing your life, maybe having a kid or whatever? Are you bringing somebody into the world to say, okay, it's going to be better in 2024, 28, 35, or do you dare see it's going to be even worse?
Well, for the future, I'm always going to hope for the best. But based on what you're saying from the 90s, I've definitely seen it fluctuate. And what I mean by that is that, there was a quote that we're like, oh, racism is just happening now. And he's like, it's not just happening, it's now being filmed. That's the only thing. It's always in a lot of our systems. I'm not really a political person for people who do know me, but you may fill out a job application online and they ask you, are you Caucasian? Are you Asian? In terms of the skills itself for the job, that should be fine. In terms of more inclusive, maybe if it's a survey, fine. But some of those things are limiting too, because what if you're? So I think it's more about providing more inclusivity in our systems and also show different ways in school. We have different. I know they recently had right, and we were talking about the indigenous peoples and bringing that, something that's bringing
So
and
what
just
would you
having it
improve?
a
What would you improve? Like, let's say enough people just talk, and there's no action. What action?
right.
You're on international TV, and
Yeah.
we're like we just said, we signed the deal with 300 million TVs watching your face here. What would you, instead of talking about it, what would you're talking to president of provinces of Canada, the mayor elect of North America, just added that for 2023. All right, what would
The
you
president
do?
of the provinces of Canada. That.
And don't forget the new mayor elect of North America. I need a voicemail for that, by the way. All right.
Sure.
Okay, but instead of talking, what actions would you do?
Incorporating it in schools from at a younger age can definitely, cause the child these things as they grow and question more things. I think also, have, and what I mean by that is just like we talked about the surveys online and things like that, trying to eliminate that. It's not about your race. This is not what's going to get you this or whatever. In terms about action. I think that even, providing more assistance to communities as well. I know like a lot of us may not have the advantages, not just we don't have the advantages of maybe, access to mental health resources or help us, bring up ourselves more so we feel more confidence because there's in pain and trauma from certain experiences that a lot of people have faced. So it's like, I don't know, but I think I can't really speak for everyone, but I think more awareness, more inclusivity in spaces in terms of opportunities, and that can help people with their mental health, more resources that can help people upgrade themselves. So there should be like some sort of money for them to go to college so that their parents are, you know what I mean? So, like some sort of free stuff. So some sort of compensation would be nice in some aspects. But
are you asking for a raise already?
Well, I'm not asking. I'm not going to pull the raise card and be like, "Can I have a raise, Joe?" But you know what I mean. More representation, and I definitely think that this network, the Fired, definitely shown that representation too. For everyone who's watching, there's a lot of, especially there's a lot of we have a female network that's basically going about and having a, and Joseph has been just, I was going to say Joseph Page, basic. I was gonna say, Jeff, absolutely amazing in terms of holding down the team and making sure that process. I remember when I was first recruited, you know, even that process, it didn't even feel in me as my color or how I looked. I even think I had, you know, like I dressed a certain way. What can you bring to the table? What can you show? And that was when I first seen how this space is not about you know just this, but it's about professional. It's about the what you bring to the table in terms of your skill sets rather than your identity. Definitely has been a great experience here for me too.
And the show before you, Courtney Reddell, whose birthday is today, so shout out to Courtney. But you know, the Renaissance Mama, she talked about in openly on international TV being 40 years old, and it's her birthday today, and all that. And big part of Fired Up Network is female empowerment movement, and you know, ladies, black, white, Chinese, Portuguese, Greek, anybody. It doesn't matter what you are, who you are, or whatever. You guys, and one of the biggest things I started this is to have an outlet for the future broadcasters. Uh, you know, we have many people who have moved on to bigger, brighter lights and all that. So again, it's it's remarkable how everything has turned. And Sammy, like I said, you were with me through thick and thin for I got 3 years already, and from the beginning to now, you know yourself. I don't have to tell you. You know how more composed you are. You know how more because you were an energizer bunny. I don't even know how half the words you said before, and you know all that. But now today, this was one of your best segments. But we're not done yet. All right, we live the lavish lifestyle here on Fired Up and Fam. All right, look at this. Look at my shirt. Look at this haircut, Sam. Come on, and the eyebrows are done. Look at
Getting
Sam.
ready for Valentine's Day. Hold on. Is
Hold on,
somebody
Sam.
getting ready?
I gotta tell. No, I'm getting ready for Valentine's Day.
You gotta tell us your plans, Joe, for Valentine's
Wait, no,
Day.
I'm
You
getting
gotta
ready
tell us.
for Valentine's Day. I'm getting ready for Valentine's weekend. I'm getting ready to. I'm practicing going down on my knee and all that. Sooner or later, yes, Sam. Can you believe that? Yeah. You're an actress here. Like you're an actress. You do that very well. By the way, I got a shout out from The Rock for my birthday. All right, The Rock. He shouted me out because I introduced him at the Grammys to Adele. All right, I introduced him to the Adele, but we talk about the Grammys. All right, Grammys last week, of course, around my birthday and all that in Los Angeles. But I gotta say this, right? Are you a hip hop fan? I know Drew Ebanks of On Point Basketball. His pants are on the floor. He's a hip hop fan. Dr. Dre and all that. Did you watch? That was probably the biggest 15 minutes in Grammy history. Did you watch it?
Joe, when I tell you, I have a whole list of names that I'm going to be naming. There was like over 30, not only because they were doing the hip hop's 50th anniversary, but so many different performances by a whole bunch of black artists. And this is exactly what I was talking about. We had LL Cool J, Big
up LL
Boy,
Cool J.
Busta
Big up
Rhymes.
Busta Rhymes. Big up yourself. Go ahead. I feel like a DJ now. Come on.
Yes. Split Star, De La Soul, DJ Drama, Missy Elliott, you know, Gorilla, so many different artists. Little Wayne, Little Baby, Nelly came out. Remembers the throwback, the Band-Aid. Yep. He came back out with that. That was amazing.
He came back out with the Band-Aid because he got in a little scrap with The Rock. All right, so that's the truth. He got a little bit of scrap, and you know, everybody seemed to love that 15 minutes, you know, hip hop, except for one guy. Jennifer Lopez, husband or fiance or whatever. What's his name again?
Mm-hmm. Jennifer Lopez's husband. Oh gosh, you're quizzing me on the spot. I know he's an actor. No joke. I'm gonna find this right now because they dated back in the day too. You know that? I'm so glad those clips of him. Oh my gosh, this is gonna kill me if I don't find his name.
I'm not even saying it.
What? His name is say.
All right.
Oh, everyone's talking about the relationship from that show right there, Joe.
Yeah, that guy was he's the only one who didn't like the hip hop, throw down, smash up, everything like that. Match yourself up.
Ben Affleck.
Yes, Ben Affleck. He was really in a pissed off mood. Do you know why he was in a pissed off mood? Do you know why?
Why, Joe?
He,
Why was he in a pit? People said that
he,
they can kind of see him whisper, like, she was like, don't do that. Da, 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 da. Like, so what was going on?
Jennifer Lopez is trying to teach him a little bit of Spanish. They've been together for 20 years. She was saying, no puedo hacer esto. Don't do that. Don't do that. No puedo hacer esto. And he, no puedo hacer esto. He wasn't saying it correctly. She was mad. She goes, honey, leave me alone. I'm kicking the jams out here on, with the hip hops and all that. Hip hop? Well, what is hip hop? Like honestly, and his name is Ben Affleck, right? Affleck is the commercial for insurance, isn't it? Like that duck, Affleck. So he was pissed off. He was really pissed off that he lost to a duck in the commercial. That's the truth. That's inside information that you won't get anywhere else but here on the Fired Up Network, female empowerment movement, and Samantha's part of Lavish. So wait a minute. I'm looking at the background. All right. Are you in a new place? Are you finally moving up high like George Jefferson and Wheezy? Come on.
Yes, Joe, I've definitely been presented with the opportunity to kind of move out. You know that I was living with my family before, and I do have a lot of siblings. Shouted out each and every one of them, but it's definitely been a bigger space for me here and up south. And Joe, can you guess the place that I spend the most time? Is it the living room, the bathroom? Where do I spend the most time? Can you guess?
Oh my gosh, you're gonna get me in trouble here. Listen, everybody who knows Sam knows that she lives the lavish lifestyle, like the TikToks and the Snapchats and the Twitters and the Instagrams and the Facebook and the which one is the swipe left, swipe right? Which one is that? Swipe left, swipe right? Which one is that? What's it called?
What do you mean?
Nah, you know what it means. Whatever. Pinder, I don't know, Twitter, Pinder, whatever.
Tinder,
Yeah.
Bumble.
Oh, so there's another Bumblebee. You're saying you're on another one also? All right. So she does it. Where's the mirror? Where's the mirror? There's no mirror there. You're in the living room. I could tell you're in the living room. She does it in the washroom. She does her best business in the washroom.
Actually, I just love long baths, and I've said this before on air. Yes, Joe, but going back into the performance, Joe, I really wanted to tell you something. What was your favorite performance, Joe?
What was my favorite performance? Come on, Dr. Dre, man, Dr. Dre. Me and the doc. He calls me Dr. P. He called him Dr. Dre. Yo. Listen to me. All right. Okay. Me and him. We were scissoring Daddy O before anybody knew it. You don't even know what that means. Scissor me, Daddy O. There you go.
Joe, wait, but were you upset at all that Beyonce Queen album of the year or anything like that? I know you're a huge fan of Beyonce. Beyonce, if you are watching right now, secretly listens to all of your music behind closed doors. He's always there singing Hello, Angelic. But trust me.
Singing who? What am I singing?
Halo.
Here it is. Here it is. I'm going to say this right now. All right? Super Bowl halftime show this on Sunday, Super Bowl, all right? Super Bowl halftime is Rihanna. Is your choice. You take Rihanna, you take Beyonce. Who do you have? Who do you like better? Who's a better Beyonce, Queen B? Well, I'm King J, and my queen is Queen P. All right. So, like, look, and S. All right, S. What is it? You're a Queen S, right? What, like, does anybody call you Queen S? S Queen or Queens? Queens like S. You know, like S. You like that, okay? But if you have Rihanna and you have Beyonce, which one is better?
I hate to compare it. I love them.
All right, there's no comparison. You're right.
But I may get more along with Rihanna. I do listen to her music more, but they are both beautiful, talented, definitely made a whole lot for themselves, and has definitely provided the representation that a lot of us like to see in the media too. I know that Beyonce has come out with some new songs that have been trending, and she did come an hour late from Viola Davis, so it was like
in the Los Angeles traffic. I was 25 minutes late, and then I did my hair, and I'm like, traffic, man. And
I was 2 minutes late on here too, but she did come in.
No, but here you cannot be late. 300 million people watch you. How many people watch the Grammys? Was it more than 300 million people? Anyways, here's the truth. You like Rihanna better. The truth is because you are like Rihanna, a tattooed freak. All right? There you have.
I have zero and people with tattoos are not.
You said you have 100 tattoos. That's what I heard. All right, 100 tattoos. That was that. What is your favorite? If you're going to get a tattoo, what would you get?
I've always wanted a tattoo in Hebrew on my wrist
Hebrew.
with my mom.
What would you say in Hebrew? Shalom, manishma, ken beseder. What?
No, but yeah, either with my mom's. Wait,
what do you say?
Do you have a tattoo?
Hold on. Hava Nagila, you're singing Hava Nagila. Hava Nagila. Come on. What tattoo? Seriously. What tattoo? By the way, in this segment, I spoke English, I spoke Spanish, and Hebrew. Not bad, eh? Not bad for the president of the provinces of Canada. All right, what tattoo would you get?
So I told you I would get something that either has my mom's name or her birthday on my wrist. What about you, Joe? Who would you get?
No. Hold on. You said something in Hebrew. What would you get in Hebrew?
Mom's name written on my wrist or something.
All right. So hold on. Me and your mom go way, way, way back. What's your mom's name?
You guys can call her G.
Like Gwen. G Money. Shout out to you.
G Money.
What's wrong with G Money? All
right.
We
could call her Joyce.
Isn't her birthday coming up soon?
June 21st?
Yeah, 6 months from now. See? 6 months from now. Don't forget
But Joe, most importantly, how was your birthday? What was your biggest for this year? And what did you do? Did you eat cake? Was it chocolate? Was it vanilla? I still have. Are you
gonna let me answer, or your segment's gonna cut out here? My birthday, and I'm gonna be very, very straightforward. Yesterday, February 8th, Wednesday, February 8th, 2023, honestly was, if not the best, one of the best birthdays in my 49-year career. Get it? 49-year career. One of the best. Cake, yes. Patricia came. Listen to the future wife I'm going to have. Sam, I'm taken, all right? I know you're heartbroken. So here it is. Okay, listen to the future wife I have. She works, by the way, FedEx. She works at FedEx till 7:30 downtown where Skydome is. Drives all the way to North York. Brings me ice cream cake. Brings me also other stuff, presents and food and all that. Half an hour later, she drives all the way back to downtown only to do work again the next day. That is called wife her up. That is called love.
Incredible.
By the way, Sam, let me ask you a question. Serious. Would you do that for anybody?
Honestly, love makes you do a lot of things.
No, I didn't say love. I said, would you do that for anybody?
Yes, I would.
Have you done that for anybody?
No. Would I?
Yes. We found the secret to why Sam is single. There you have it. And by the way, Sam, the schedule for the CEBL, the Scarborough Shooting Stars, came out a couple weeks ago. Scarborough Shooting Stars will be back at the end of May in Scarborough. Last year, Samantha Walters, who did not do right ever for Fired Up Network, wrote articles for Scarborough Shooting Stars, did not go anywhere for media, and was almost at every game for Scarborough Shooting Stars. J. Cole was kicking the jams and saying big ups to Samantha Walters. Am I lying or what? Isn't it true? Come on.
I was posting on social media and tagging the Fired Up Network as well as the Fem Network. And it was super exciting. And I honestly want to thank Joe for that opportunity. The different side in the actual field of sports, which was definitely to see what the players were going through, especially before the games. There was a lot of things that I learned about in terms of their meaning in the community and trying to interact with everybody. And also the since it's Black History Month, they definitely have some things going on with the community giving. I should definitely check them out. The Scarborough Shooting Stars will be back up and running in Scarborough. Are you from Scarborough?
No, I'm not from Scarborough. I'm not going from Scarborough, but Scarborough's got a bad name, all right? Scarborough gets a bad name.
Joe
it's
comes
not
here
that bad.
all the time, guys. Every week.
No, stop lying. Listen, I'm the mayor-elect of North America now. Listen, the lies that you spread, that's no good. First of all, G Money, all right? Special hi to you, G Money. And aren't you glad that Sam moved out of the house? And you know what I mean? Like, yeah. I know she's. How many times has she been over?
She's literally coming over tonight to bring me food, just because I am not the best cook.
Hold on. Bring you food. What are you gonna have? Some ackee, some saltfish. Come on. What are you gonna have?
She's bringing chicken, rice, green banana, dumpling.
All right. What's your address again? I'm there in an hour. So what's your address again? Come on.
Yep. I'll text it to you, Joe.
So Sam, we'll close out. It's the Super Bowl, right? Do you know who plays in the Super Bowl?
Yes. Do I know who plays in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, you were telling me Kansas City, Philadelphia. You were telling me Kansas City, Philadelphia, and you were telling me, and then we got cut off. You were telling me you expect who to win at Super Bowl 57 in Arizona Sunday night, where you're going to have Johnny with you, you're going to have Jack with you, you're going to have Daniels with you, you're going to have a little bit of Rock with you, you're going to have some, Shanley with you. I mean, Shanley and Jack, and Walker, John and Walker and all that. Like, a lot, man, a lot. That's a lot. But Kansas City, Philadelphia, who you got?
Definitely Philadelphia. Definitely.
See, this wasn't planned at all. Coming up next, by the way, Sam, because it was NBA trade deadline today, was Anthony K, who's going to get you more fluent, and Drew Ebanks, who is a big Philadelphia Eagle fan. Drew Ebanks, of course, of OnPointBasketball.com. Basketball here, On Point Basketball. And you know what? Last time Philadelphia was in the Super Bowl, it was against New England. Drew, myself, were at an establishment, and Drew was crying like a baby. Because Philadelphia won. He was crying like a baby. Now, here it is. Okay, you mentioned Valentine's and all that. February 14th, 2 days before my sister's birthday. All right, my sister's birthday, February 16th. I'm assuming you're going to provide my sister a present since you didn't provide me with a present, Sam.
I thought your sister was in Florida.
So what? You don't believe in FedEx?
And I have your present. See it?
Yeah, I want to see it.
Okay, give me one second.
Oh, all right. So we're waiting for my present from Samantha Walters here.
Right here, all wrapped up. And,
here we go.
And ready to go. We have this shiny
green
bag.
It better be not basketball because the only guy who plays with balls is Drew.
I can open it right now.
Is it something good? Is it something borrowed? Is it something blue? Is it what? All right, open it. The suspense is killing me. I gotta put suspenders on now. Come on, it's killing me.
I'm super excited. I just added a few more things that I think you'll love.
Wait a minute. My birthday was yesterday. Did you add them yesterday or today?
Well, every day that goes by that I haven't added a thing in a day.
I might get 365 presents. Yes or no?
You can't wait 5 presents. No. I'm going to give this to you very, very soon, Joe.
Oh, is that what you were hinting at? Like, when? Oh, all right.
No, I'm soon.
Soon. So no wonder you want me to go to Scarborough. You made me drive all the way to Scarborough for. First of all, if I drive to Scarborough, it's going to cost at least $60. So is the presents worth $60?
Yes.
Well, I'm there today. All right, Sam. So tell everybody how they get hold of you, and any last comments. All serious, all we joking over Sam. You've been a big portion of the Fired Up Network and female empowerment movement. And again, we're with World WURL.com, 300 million on 300 million TVs and all that. But any last things you want to say about Black History Month and special and serious? Your mom has been great here talking to me so many times, and people who are around, doesn't matter if it's black, white, or whatever. If you're lucky to be a mother, daughters, son, grandfathers, or grandsons, granddaughters, and all that, go give your mom a hug, a kiss. Don't make your mom mad. Go to school, learn the best way. Forget about Black History Month for a second. Any history month, any black, white, anything. Go and learn. Learn, be yourself, and get yourself better. That's the only way you could do better in this world. Go ahead, Sam.
Yes, you guys can get a hold of me at Samantha _ at the end. And as Joe said, keep tuning into this inclusive network where we have Black people and everyone projecting their voices and spreading awareness about all the issues that matter. They're giving you the newest topics, the latest news. They're giving you sports. They're giving you. You can also help by not only just spreading awareness, is by also supporting in every single day. There's always a show a day on this network, and you guys do not want amazing opportunities that Joe has been providing, and that he is going to.
And it's not only one thing I'm going to correct you on. It's not only me. It's the millions and millions of people like Sam, like Courtney Riddell, like Drew and Anthony Kay, like John Carlo Lino, John Nelson, Steve Carney, Marty Roberts, Justin Levine, Patricia. She does a lot and gets my mindset and everything like that. And Sam, anybody else you want to shout out here? Because we're going to close out this segment and throw it to NBA jump ball. The NBA trade deadline was today, so go ahead. Any shout outs? You get big up your brothers, big up your sister, big up your dog. How's your dog doing, by the way?
He's doing really, really well. And yes, I do want to shout out everybody here today too. This live. Anybody who shares it with at least one person, specifically this one too, for the Black History Awareness, I'm going to shout out you for making the change today, and for sharing this, and for commenting, for giving feedback. This is exactly what it's all about. And if you guys have any voice or what you guys think, Joe asked the question earlier, but it wasn't only to me. So if you guys feel like you can do better, what kind of action? Remember, Joe doesn't just do words. It's about what acts a better place to make it more inclusive, respectful. Definitely comment them. Definitely you guys can get a hold of me or Joe at Samantha _ me at the end. And Joe, what was how can they get a hold of you again?
You can get a hold of me on Fired Up Net, Fired Up NET. But here, a girl whose name is Jess says, Sam, do you know A Boogie with a Hoodie?
Yes.
Do you know who he is? Seriously, because I have no idea.
He has a lot of amazing songs. He's a great artist.
That's a real name? A Boogie with a Hoodie?
Yes, he has. So he has the.
Is he joining up B Boogie with a Hoodie, or Boogie Woogie 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 Doogie Good Dog Doogie and all that?
Boogie with a Hoodie.
Is that
He doesn't.
who it is? No, I'm being dead serious. Jess
He
says, "Do you know
he
who?"
is an artist. He is an artist, and that's the name that he goes. A lot of amazing tracks, which you guys should check out. He's a Black young male artist who's definitely been on the come up. Actually, I think he may be having a tour here soon in Toronto. I think sometime in March. I will double check and let you guys know, and you guys can also find that on the website, on his website.
So, Sam, I'm going to bid you adieu, but before I do, get it? When are you going to grace us with your presence once again? Last time you came on was like in November. So, 3 months. So, I'm going to put you for 3 months in May or what? How about May? Maybe July 17th. No? By the way, Sam, when am I going to get my present? Can you show one thing on one thing on camera? Can you show one thing on camera?
One thing. I don't want to ruin the surprise.
All right, don't ruin the surprise, Sam.
Actually, I can show you. I'm going to be putting in, but I don't know if I'll get in trouble for showing it.
Yeah, well, you're not showing anything right now. You're dark, so it says SW. Sister with Voices, SWV. I don't know if you remember them.
Sorry. One thing I can show on camera is this.
All right, hold on. Producer, do your job. All right, hold on. He's doing his job. Oh.
This is
that cool,
one thing that's on camera. Don't stop. Look at that. Tequila. I know it's not.
Wait a minute. I don't drink anything if it's not Terramana. Seriously, I have a deal now with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Terramana. You want to see?
Great.
I'm not joking. Look, see here? I don't know if you see this. Look, see Terramana all the time here. Oh, is this tequila? Yes, da. Okay, we're gonna close out this segment. Throw it here. Throw it in the TV. I'll catch it. Throw it here. Throw it in. Come on. All right. On that note, I'm going to throw it to Drew Ebanks. Sam, thank you. We'll be in touch soon. Black History Month, again, each and every week, we're going to endeavor to get somebody on to talk about Black History Month here. Sam, again, you can reach her at Samantha_media, and media is with 2 A's because she forgot how to spell media. All right. And shout out to your mother. Shout out to your mother. Shout out to your brother who still didn't pass me his Xbox name so I could kick his ass in NBA 2K23. All right. So that's it. But I'm glad your dog is doing well. Then we'll meet. If there are presents for me, we'll meet up soon. Like in 3 hours. All right. Thanks a lot, Sam. Thanks a lot, Sam.
No worries. Thank you, Joe, for having me.
All right, that's Samantha Walters, a big part of the Fired Up Network and FM. And we're going to throw right now, today, 3 p.m. was the NBA trade deadline. We talked to Anthony Kay and Drew Ebanks. Hey, everybody, this is Joseph Hasek, and welcome to the Fired Up Network. Welcome to Fired Up Live. Welcome to NBA Jump Ball, the NBA trade deadline. Here's Captain Canada, and I'm going to bar him from being called Captain Canada because he did not bring me a birthday present. He did send me.
I haven't seen you yet.
Don't worry. Have a birthday present for me? Yeah. Listen, Anthony K bought me euros. All right. So, look, man, he actually provided something. All right.
I got a knuckle sandwich coming for you
with extra tzatziki sauce.
Yeah, tzatziki sauce.
Nice.
All right. I'll tell you who has tzatziki sauce. All right, Drew. I'll start off with you.
Yeah.
Can you tell me what in the red, black, and white Raptors color is Masai Ujiri trading Jakob Poeltl, a first-round pick, top 6 protected? That's it. So at 7, 8, 9, it goes to San Antonio, and two. I said that 3 times. Second-round picks.
I mean, the only thing I could say is, obviously he's a vet, big man. You're familiar with him. I said his numbers are decent, like 12 points, almost a double-double as far as rebounds. Koloko, as you know, is not ready as that middle of the paint guy. So I think it's a good move to bring him back. I'm not sure A first rounder for him. Obviously, I guess, bigs that can play D and take up space are a little bit of a premium, kind of. And then is it 2 second rounds?
Yes.
Yeah, two.
That's it seems quite a bit. I mean, second rounds seem to be flying all over the place today, guys, as far as trade bait and trade, padding of trades. So I think to give 2 and a first rounder, that is very, very interesting to see that happen for the Raptors. Obviously, they look like they think they're still in the mix here because nothing was done for their major pieces. So I think this is just something to bolster the center spot. Moving out Kem Birch, unfortunately, Canadian. Sorry to see him go, but he's been doing some good work when he's in the lineup. I think they're just, they're trying to win in a way. They're trying to see what they can do this season. And then, Koloko, he's just not quite ready yet. But in a few years, 2-3 years, I think Koloko is going to be an absolute force in the middle for the Raptors.
Okay, Anthony, go ahead.
I think Masai is continuously playing chess while the rest of us are playing checkers. I think he had absolutely no intention of trading anyone because what have we said all season? This team is way too talented to have such a bad record. We've said it over and over and over again. They have a versatility. They have defenders. We wish they had a little bit more shooting, but they have everything to compete in an East that started off yesterday as the stronger conference and ended today at 3 p.m. as the much, much weaker conference. So it's almost addition by subtraction. So is Pirtle better than Birch today? I think he is. He's a very efficient scoring big man who can rebound, who, by the way, is really good friends with Pascal Siakam. That played a role too, right? I think that the one thing that we know when the Raptors were having their success that those few years right before the Kawhi Leonard trade, you could see the chemistry. It was DeRozan and Lowry like becoming best friends. And then even when they won, Lowry kind of took Kawhi kind of under that Raptor wing, since now that we know Raptors had feathers, under that Raptor wing and just brought him into the mix. And you could tell that they got along. So this is a move of, hey, let's bring some team chemistry. Let's get guys who like each other. It helps that he plays. I think the price that was paid, I agree, was a little too much. But now it's, hey, let's make a run at this. They're currently in the play-in. We know they're better than that. We know that they're probably better than the guys just immediately ahead of them, the Chicagos and whoever, I forget who's in eighth. But those couple of teams, they're better than those two teams. We know the Nets. Well, the Nets are going to drop out of existence, let's be honest, now that they've made all those trades. So now there opens up the spot in that top kind of 6. Maybe that's their philosophy is, hey, get to the play and maybe make a push for that 6th spot and see what happens, because this is a team that a lot of players and coaches that I've interviewed over the last for this season really have said, you really don't want to face the Raptors in the playoffs because they're so long. They're so versatile. They're so good defensively that if they start making shots, they're very dangerous. What he did today was brilliant. He knows exactly what he can get for OG. Yeah, he knows what was for Pascal. Yep. He understands exactly what he has. So now going into the offseason, he has the rest of the season now to say, okay, this is what I can get. This is what I can piece together. This is the team I can build for next year. Let's see how this plays out this year. So look, I would have loved a big splashy name and a scorer and something to come in and make this team a legit shot at winning a chip. They're not there. It didn't happen. So you move on.
You know what? I just want to add a little bit to that. That's exactly my sentiment. This guy, Messiah.
Why didn't you say it? This guy got you more sports fluent. That's exactly. You had the chance first.
No. Hold on. Hey, sometimes, I don't have 20 minutes to talk. You know what I mean? I don't have 20 minutes. I'm just saying, I said this before, and I've said it on air. I don't see what the rush was to trade OG Anunoby. I didn't buy all the negativity that he wants out, Dude, if you fortify that guy's role, if you make him essentially the second guy, and you have a better point guard that can distribute, he can actually be, if you really stretch it, OG could be number 1, Pascal 2, because in the real world of trying to win a championship, I don't think Pascal is a first option, right? So I think some of the, all the smoke, I know they always say where there's smoke, there's fire, but I just didn't feel it. And Masai, they want a title with these guys. He's not so quick to just say, let him go. Toronto, Canada. This is a very special situation, and it's like, I don't think he's ready yet to go. I think he's, as you said, Anthony, he's going to see what else is out there. And if he can convince these guys and keep them around and pick up like a stud over the summer, possibly for Van Vliet and maybe Gary Trent, he's going to try to re-up and just kind of move the dynasty forward. Not a dynasty as far as, winning.
I heard that sustained success. I'm actually surprised that Fred didn't get moved. But part of that might be, hey, Fred, we need you. Listen, when you need to get your shot off, we know you can do it.
Right.
Then you go the rest of the season and be more of a facilitator and get everybody else involved. And I think Fred has the basketball IQ to do that. So they're betting on their own guys.
I think, again, if Fred can adapt and Fred can understand, we won a chip already, I need to now be a leader, a distributing leader on this team. You can't have a 6'1" point guard dropping 40 points, shooting more shots than your so-called all-NBA. Well, not so-called. He's an all-NBA player.
All-NBA player, yeah.
He's an all-NBA player. And OG, to me, is a guy that everybody covets. And I'm telling you, if you move OG, you got to get the kitty's litter for him. I mean, he's not KD, but you'll probably need to get close to that, because those 3-and-D defenders who could shoot threes and that are tough, very hard to find.
I think you could command what KD got, because if you look at what Gobert got in the offseason and what KD got, well, here's a more versatile player than Gobert, right, and a guy that's younger and healthier for the most part than KD. Yeah. Look, he's not on KD's level, that's right, but at the same time, he does. If you add his defense in, the drop off isn't that as significant as some might think.
Right.
All right, so this is not Raptors Roar, all right? Drew, keep it down already. Keep it down. He got you more sports fluent. I should call you Drew.
Hey, I take cues and lessons from everybody, brother. Yeah, Anthony knows what he's talking about.
He schooled you. He schooled you. You turned over the ball.
I don't take it personally at all, brother. Yeah, I don't take it personally.
You better take off that shirt anyways. Better take off that jersey.
Stop hating. You're coming at me because I'm wearing a Super Bowl champion jersey.
Yeah, whatever.
Come on, stop hating, Buffalo Bills.
Anthony, here, I gave Drew the script. See, the NFL is scripted. It said here in 2012 that this Super Bowl is going to be won by the Eagles 37-34. All right? So there you go. Here, yep. Okay, enough football talk. We'll get you in a couple seconds for football. Let's talk about two teams that really were active here, and that is the Brooklyn Nets and the Lakers. Let's start off with Brooklyn here, because Anthony will go along with the Lakers, all right? Here, Kyrie Irving, Markieff Morris going to Dallas. Spencer Dinwiddie. Brooklyn had him before, but anyway. Smith, a first-round pick in 2029, second-round pick in 2027, and a second-round pick in 2029. And then you talked about the big trade here, Kevin Durant, to Phoenix here, and T.J. Warren for Bridges, Johnson, Jay Crowder, a first-round pick 2023, first-round pick 2027, first-round pick 2027, first-round pick swap in 2028, and a first-round pick in 2029. Drew, you hogged all the mic before. Give it to Anthony. Go ahead, Anthony. You start us off first.
Well, was that the biggest part of that Brooklyn thing? I thought the biggest one was getting Edwards and sending out the draft rights for McKinney.
Yeah, that wasn't neglected to mention that.
That was the big one. That was the big one. Listen, Brooklyn realized that this whole Kyrie KD, as I called it when it happened, was a disaster. A disaster. The absolute worst case scenario that could happen to a super team scenario, because they did everything wrong. They brought in Kyrie and KD. They listened to I don't know who and brought in an inexperienced coach that those guys might have signed off on, but clearly didn't respect when they should have brought in a proven winner as a head coach. It's a disaster from day one. Then what do? They take all their incredible assets that they have, Spencer Dinwiddie, I'm forgetting the other guard's name. I don't know why I'm Karis LeVert, Jared Allen, Jared Allen, the center. Everything to make room for James Harden. And then that doesn't work. So let's move him out. Bring in Ben Simmons, who clearly doesn't want to play basketball. And it blows. And then Kyrie, listen, we couldn't have expected all the the court stuff, the pandemic, the vaccinations. Okay, we couldn't guess all of that stuff, but it's a complete disaster. So they did the only thing they could do: trade everybody and get as much back as you possibly can. They are 100% in the rebuild. I do want to say one thing. It was like 45 second round picks were traded today. What the heck is going on with these second round picks? How many do they have? But yeah, so I think Brooklyn did the right thing. They're rebuilding. They moved those guys off into better situations for both of them.
And really, how many second round picks really, really make it good in the NBA, right? So it's not like
there's a back-to-back MVP that would tell you got to take a chance on that second round pick.
Yeah, they're 1 out of a million. There, go ahead, Drew.
I mean, what an absolute disaster! Oh my goodness, you're in the second biggest market. I mean, you're in pretty much the biggest market. What I'm talking about, the biggest sporting market, the biggest media market in the world. You have KD, you have Kyrie, you have James Harden, and you end up with absolutely nothing. And now KD's gone all the way over to the West Coast. That you're happy for, but my goodness, what a disaster. You could never have, I mean, you could see it as Anthony, you said it, the way Kyrie has blown up teams. You were just hoping, I think, that he could maybe not blow up this team. But when a guy's supposed to be playing a game and he's on a Zoom chat with the city of New York talking about, I think it was COVID or whatever, like when I saw that, I was like, my God, does this guy love basketball? Because to me, I'll tell you the honest truth, I don't see a love for basketball. And someone said it, he loves money. That's fine. But does he love basketball? Because you can be an activist. You can stand for causes. LeBron James, Jordan's my GOAT. I'm not changing that, not right yet anyways. But I'll tell you one thing he did way better than Jordan. That's stand up for the cause, especially for African Americans. Not listening to shut up and dribble that those right wingers were trying to do to him. He has stood up for causes while he's played. He has not let that stop him from getting on the court. So let me tell you, you're getting paid $30-40 million. You need to play basketball. When you've played for 50% of the eligible games over the past, 3, 4, 5 years, it's unacceptable. And I got people in some of my chat groups making excuses and saying it's the management, it's this, that, which is what he was blaming. Oh, they weren't very flexible or whatever he was saying. Are you kidding me, bro? You're getting paid $40 million. All they want you to do is get on the court, play, and wow the fans and win a chip. You got swept last year, which should never have happened. You should have pride. And then now, poor KD vouched for you, brought you in, brought in Harden. And KD must be saying, my goodness, I thought this guy was going to come here and play. And now, look, he's gone. So for me, I think Kyrie has good intentions. He wants to be a social activist. I've said it before. Quit basketball, man. You've made enough money. Go be an activist on your own. Don't let the league force you out like some other players. Go call it a career. You won your chip and go be an activist. But you cannot be both, especially when you're only playing 50% of your games.
All right. So Jay Crowder got traded to Milwaukee. 3-team trade. Milwaukee gets Jay Crowder. Brooklyn gets 2 second-round picks. And Indiana receives George Hill, Serge Ibaka, second-round pick, a second-round pick, and a second-round pick there. All right? So and there's another couple trades before we talk about the Lakers, and I'll let Anthony touch on a 3-team trade here. Philadelphia, Portland, and Charlotte. And, of course, John Wall goes back to Houston. Luke Kennard goes to Memphis, and Eric Gordon goes back to Clippers, and a second-round pick. Everybody's second-round pick. But I want to talk on, before we talk on the Lakers, the 4-team deal. Drew, you start us off because I know we talked about this months ago. James Wiseman to Detroit, of all teams. We Gary.
They got enough centers or what? They got enough big men there?
I think they have 6.
Gary Payton Jr. to the Warriors, and Portland receives Kevin Knox, a second round. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 second-round picks. All right, 5. Like these second-round picks, for the amount of second-round picks, 1 of the second-round picks is going to make it. The rest is like
you can blame the NBA. They put the restrictions on the first rounders, so they're just swapping second rounders.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yep.
Drew, you'll start us off with those big trades before we talk about the Lakers and close it out.
Well, I don't know what Portland's doing. I'm not sure what they're doing. I don't know if they're trying to half tank. I can't imagine, unless people were saying that Dame has a say in this, knows what's going to happen. I feel really sorry for him. I don't know what that team is really going to be able to do. With the moves they've made. You talked about the Lakers as well.
Lakers, leave the Lakers out of it until we talk about, like I told you.
Who else were you discussing?
James Wiseman.
Oh, okay. So James Wiseman, second overall pick. I really liked him. I really like what he brought to the table from seeing him early on. Not sure why it hasn't clicked for Wiseman. Obviously, injuries have been something that has affected him. I don't think Golden State was really ready in short order to re-up a guy like Wiseman, who hasn't done a thing, and also did not apparently want to go play in the G League, which to me, my goodness gracious, for young people out there and young ballers, if your team is telling you to go to the G League, go to the flipping G League. You look at Corey Joseph, huge example. Corey did not have to do that. Team asked him, go down to the G League and play, and Corey did it he actually embraced it. You have to understand the NBA is tougher, especially if you're a big man. The amount of minutes you get, the amount of reps you get at that G League level can definitely help you. So I don't know if Wiseman's misguided. I don't know who he has in his camp. But for the Golden State Warriors to basically pitch away number 2 overall, that is pretty damning right there.
Go ahead, Fluent.
So here's the thing. Good for Wiseman. I think Wiseman is in a situation where his ability to play is not his ability to play in the Warriors system. They asked their bigs to handle the ball. He's not very good at doing that. They asked him to stretch the floor. He's not very good at doing that. They asked him to be unselfish. He is not good at doing that. So that player doesn't fit, and you can tell from the G League thing. He's just not that type of player that fits into their system. So they send him to Detroit, maybe the worst possible destination from Northern California to Detroit. Like, I would be pissed. Here's the thing. They get rid of 4-year, $39 million. This doesn't sound like a lot, $9.6 million a year, but it's fully guaranteed for those 4 years. So Golden State said, hey, we're going to cut our losses on this kid and see what we can get back. They get a pretty good defensive player back in Gary Payton. So I think that's actually really good for them because he helped. He was very important on a perimeter defender last year. So I get it. For Wiseman, hey, maybe Dwayne Casey, I think, still in Detroit. Yeah, Dwayne Casey has an opportunity now to take this really young, really talented player and say, hey, for the rest of the season, they're not going anywhere. They're last in the East. Let's feed him the ball. Let's see what he can do. He wants to post up. He wants to be that guy. Let's try it out. It sets them up, I think, pretty well for the offseason because they do have 75 centers on the roster. So now just start moving them out. And if you look at it, they Cade Cunningham's going to be back next year. They're going to have Wiseman. They have a good young core. If they can figure out now how to piece those other pieces around them, they could actually be better than expected next year. I can see them being Cleveland last year, where they surprise a lot of people. They're higher up in the standings. They drop off near the end of the year, but still, I think they're going to be that kind of team next year.
All right, so Anthony, you'll go. It's your team, the Lakers. Before we start on the Lakers, who rebuilt this in a fly here, let's give. Drew said Michael Jordan. For me, also Michael Jordan's still the GOAT, but the guy who has the most career points, LeBron James. He just did it this week. And Anthony is my producer there. Give us a clap or something like that. Give me a Ric Flair woo or something. He deserves a clap. That's right. All right, Anthony. That 2 woos. It's like Ric Flair in bed. All right. So go ahead, Anthony. Tell the world what you think of your team. First of all, let's talk about LeBron and then all the trades.
Oh, yeah. Well, first of all, congratulations to LeBron James. This is not I remember watching Kareem break Wilt's record, and everyone saying for the next 10 years, no one's ever going to break this record. It's not going to be broken. And so for him to, come into this league with such high expectations and not only meet them, like he exceeded individual, like I get the championships and all that stuff people knock him for, but in terms of as an individual player, he exceeded the chosen one, the king, all this stuff. He easily could have underperformed. We've had many people do that, and he didn't. His peak longevity is second to none, right? He's 38 years old, and he's still putting up 30 a game. Now, it's a little easier in today's league, but still, it's super impressive. The 38 thing just blew my mind, by the way. So he's 38 years old. He breaks a record that had been out for 38 years by scoring 38 points and reaching 38,388.
Crazy.
He better go play the lottery and put in that number 38. It's just, it's so incredible. So good for him. Congratulations. Does it affect my GOAT status? Because everyone's going to ask that. And the answer is no, because I didn't have Kareem as the GOAT. I didn't have Kareem as the greatest scorer of all time. So it's an incredible achievement. It's a wonderful tick on his box when you go through and do your comparison. It shouldn't change where you value him in that other debate. But as far as, hey, great, one of the greatest of all times, let's give him his respect as one of the greatest scorers of all time, because I don't think people look at him. They keep saying he's a pass-first player. And the reality is, guys, he's not. He's 12th all time in field goal attempts per game. He is not a he's a make the right pass player, but he is absolutely a scorer, and we should give him his respect for that. So shout out to LeBron James and congratulations.
All right. So
you want me to go right into the Lakers, or you want Drew to say his congratulations?
No, because Drew tends to, he does a halftime show. It's like Rihanna, like 20
all right. Well, then since I got 2 minutes left, I'll tell you about my Lakers. Right before that other trade that happened last night to the Suns, I felt really good about what the Lakers did. Bringing in Vanderbilt, who I think is a really nice player, Beasley, D'Lo for some shooting, moving out Russ, which never was going to work, which we all agreed on. Then they made a smaller move, right? Moving out Pat Beverly and Bryant. I was confused about the Bryant one until I saw the Mo Bamba, and I said, oh, okay, that's why they did that. So then it made sense. So now I really like that team. They're longer, they're more athletic, they're better defensively, they got better shooting. Can they get it together fast enough? Can Anthony Davis get and stay healthy? Two very big questions. But if they do, prior to the Phoenix trade, I was like, wow, this team can actually make a run, because if they can, they're only like 4 games, I believe, out of 6th, which would give them Sacramento in the first round, which doesn't scare me. Memphis in the second round, again, if all the favorites win, Memphis in the second round, which who knows what Memphis team you're going to get. And then the Nuggets. Okay, you got to beat the Nuggets. They're a great team, but it's a road that I think was achievable. KD to the Suns, kind of threw a monkey wrench in that as a Laker fan.
All right. So before Drew chimes in, I know, Anthony, you got to go. You'll see more of Anthony in a special Super Bowl show we have. So we'll cover the Super Bowl. I give him all the shekels. He's going to tell us the bets. And how do you say money in Greek?
Lefta.
Lefta. See, Drew, you did. I knew that. Drew, you didn't know that. Lefta. Drew, for
lefta.
This edition.
Lefta.
All right. You'll see
give me
more
some money. Drew, don't worry, Drew. I know you're not going to be on the football show, but
that was on point.
Fly, Eagles, fly, baby.
Wait a minute. Just because he's not going to be on the football show, I'm going to tape.
So he's going to be on. Oh, okay. Oh, see you on the football show.
All right. So, Anthony, tell everybody how to get more sports fluent. And Anthony, you schooled Drew. He wasn't on point. He dribbled away the ball, everything like that.
Oh, hey, it was my turn. Drew schooled me so many times. It's about time. I got one back. The easiest way now, obviously, it's sports_fluent and all the social media stuff. But if you just go to sportsfluent.com, all the links to all the shows, all the social media, the youth coaching, everything is all there now. Tronos, if you want to buy some incredible shoes, all of it's on sportsfluent.com.
And by the way, Drew Ebanks has promised you that next week or in 2 weeks or in 3 weeks or in a month, he'll be covering your grade 10.
My GTA Mavericks. Yeah.
Yeah. He has. Drew, isn't that true? You have promised, right?
I don't know if I did that, but we'll see what we can do.
I'll see you in a few.
See you in a few, baby.
Right, thanks a lot.
Thanks, Anthony.
We're going to stay on with Drew for a couple more minutes. Drew, what do you think of all the Lakers moves there?
Well, I think Anthony made some great points. You got younger. You need to have shooting around LeBron James, Joe. You know that. You got to have shooting because he's going to make the best play. He's going to make the best pass. He may have to shoot. And I love what Anthony said. He actually absolutely was a scorer in the NBA. He was not that player, I think, when he was in high school, but he decided, I think that goal of being the all-time scorer, I think that was actually in the back of his mind from day one because he wasn't passive at all. He chucked up a lot of shots. He didn't shoot great from the outside at the beginning of his career, but he went to the hoop a lot and got a lot of buckets that way. But congratulations to LeBron. Incredible accomplishment. Few things that were funny that night was his sons were wearing Jordans on the night when he eclipsed Kareem. Also, Kareem with a big Adidas jacket there, passing it off to a Nike guy. Like you can't imagine that Nike was happy about that. But Kareem was there. And then there was some memes about Kareem's face when he was in the stands watching the shot. He didn't look all that happy. And you know that they haven't been on the same page really over the years. And I had to ask this question, I think a few of my friends. I was like, why is it that LeBron has really no relationship with Michael Jordan and they're Nike guys? And, you would think that Kareem and LeBron would have patched things up and really tried to develop some type of relationship. Now, we know Kareem is kind of he's old school. He before he started, retired, he was kind of anti-media. He had like a lot of smart-ass Alec responses to the media. But I'm actually very disappointed that one of the all-time greats who's here has not really embraced LeBron James. And then the other GOAT, in my opinion, has not embraced LeBron James. And I think that question really is something, Joe, I think we need to delve deeper and find out why. Why wouldn't Michael Jordan and LeBron James be like pretty much best buddies? Both Nike guys. Look at LeBron, what he has done.
The only way I can think, honestly, if I'm a competitor with, Michael Jordan is still a competitor like crazy. And, when he left, there was no doubt at all. He's number one. Now there's maybe a little bit of doubt, okay? Like even though LeBron is 4-6 in the finals and all that, and maybe there's a little bit of doubt, okay? So now, and he's creeping up. He's 20th year. He's passing scoring records and everything like that. And he has, at age 38, like you said, he's averaged 30 points. Maybe because, now Michael Jordan on the golf course, he kills you. He'll kill you. Like now on the golf course, he does not want to lose, right? Nope. So I don't know if it's more LeBron or is it Michael. I'm not saying being jealous, but the competitive spirit is like crazy.
Or maybe being petty. Like
remember that even when they did that Chicago Bulls series, there's still hatred between Isaiah Thomas and Michael Jordan 25 years later.
Yeah, there's still hatred for sure. They don't get along, and Isaiah just keeps on trying to poke the bear. Jordan's not even taking the bait for that. But I'm still, like I said, I'm still disappointed. I think LeBron being what he is, I think him and Jordan should have had a better relationship. And then I think even with Kareem, it just doesn't seem they're embracing it. I wonder, Joe, if it's the whole King thing. I wonder if the whole King James from the get-go riled these guys to think, King, wait a minute, hold on. You can't be anointed king. You haven't done anything yet in the league, and they're calling you the king. So I'm just wondering, I'd love to have a debate. I'd love to bring more basketball heads on to talk. Why is there no relationship between Michael Jordan and in fact, why wasn't there a relationship between Kobe really and LeBron? Like, there's just something that's odd here about that. But I like, as you said, as Anthony said, the Lakers have to put shooting, have to put some youth and length, and actually have to put some actual basketball players on the team. Pat Beverly, all respect, he's an NBA player. Yeah, I know he was like top scorer when he was in high school. But, man, I think I could go out there before I tore my Achilles and harass people on defense and run around like a chicken with my head cut off and actually not even put up any buckets and play as good as him. Obviously, I'm joking around. He's an NBA player, but he was not to the level that the Lakers need. Now, if they stay healthy, if AD can do his thing, if LeBron can find the shooters, if D'Angelo can actually play, he had some controversy when he was with the Lakers before.
Yeah.
If they can get over that, maybe they can inch in, as he said, Anthony, they're to 6th, 7th place, maybe 6th, and get that playoff spot. In LA, they're pulling for it to happen. But another thing, Joe, just to point out, what I also was laughing at was the game where LeBron got the scoring title. How do you lose that game? How do you lose a game where you need playoff wins? You cannot lose against OKC. Yes, our guy Shea, did his thing, 30 points in that game. My goodness, he looked head and shoulders above pretty much everybody, maybe except for LeBron in that game. But how do you lose that game, Joe?
So we'll close it out on the NBA jump ball with Raptors. Where I got Captain Canada here. We're based out of Toronto. Maybe Anthony will come back or not here. But let's talk. Are you disappointed with all the trade talk here? With Pascal may be gone, OG may be gone, Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent, Tracy Murray, Morris Peterson. All these players may be gone. Yeah, whatever. Are you upset that nothing else happened, or are you content with go as we are? And he's going to do like this off season. We're going to find out what's really going down in the Raptorville here, okay? Because we never hear anything from the Raptors. All the time trades are Jakob Poeltl, a big surprise, right? Surprise we don't hear, but we're hearing, OG. We're hearing Gary Trent. We're hearing Fred VanVleet. And Fred VanVleet is the school of Kyle Lowry that nothing gets said, nothing gets what we're hearing. So we're going to hear, and we're going to be surprised. I'm telling you, we're going to be surprised because I think it's about time, like he did it with DeMar, with trading the face of the franchise. Now, is the face of the franchise Pascal, and the second face OG, and really the first face may be Fred VanVleet because the big shots and coming there. Fred VanVleet really, when it was Game 6 in 2019 when they won the title, he came up big also with Kawhi. So he may be the face of the franchise. It's about time that Masai trades again the face of the franchise.
I'm not disappointed. I'm actually surprised that no one major was moved. I think Masai still thinks that there's a reason that, he did that and that they still have a chance to make the playoffs. My question also is, why isn't there no scrutiny on Nick Nurse? Why is everybody looking at the player?
That's what we talked about last show. When is it about time? Somebody, yes, he won the title. Okay, yes, they played the COVID year in Tampa. All right, yes. But when is it about time? 3 years already. When is it about time to say, is Nick Nurse not a good coach? A coach that gets them to the second promised land. You can't rest. Only Maple Leaf fans can do this. They win the Stanley Cup. We're going to talk about it for another 57 years. Because they haven't been to first round in 20 years, out of first round. So when they win the Stanley Cup, it's a national holiday. But again, when is it going to be winning 2 rounds? Again, it's nobody's talking about Nick Nurse. He's the coach of Canada. You're Captain Canada. He's the coach of Canada.
My thing about Nick Nurse is, I don't know if he fosters a lineup that, other than the first 6 or 7 players. He
rotation of 9 players.
Pardon me?
He has a rotation of 8 to 9 players. That's it. And the 9th player, Malachi Flynn, I'm telling you right now, would be good. Maybe not great, would be good in any other team. He just can't see the floor.
Yeah, and it's just, I don't know if he's the guy to foster that confidence in the rest of the guys and move guys up in the rotation or move guys' confidence up. I think that's an issue right there when you're relying on 6, 7, 8 guys the whole season. Not only is it the rest of the roster, but it's also tough physically on the players that are asked to carry that many minutes. I believe Fred VanVleet was the most or second most minutes in the NBA. So no one's really asking or questioning. It seems like Nick Nurse is getting a free pass. Yes, he won the title, but come on, what have you done for me lately? This roster, the way they play, is discombobulated, and there's no real continuity. There's no real sense that this is a team. And if they don't change that, then I think Masai's going to have to make some real serious moves. But I think right now he's giving these players the benefit of the doubt. I think he really, Joe, by not doing anything, says, guys, you can do something. You need to do something. The ball's in your court. Let's see what you got.
All right, Drew, as we close it out, tell everybody how they can get a hold of you.
Always hit me up, On Point Basketball, Instagram and Facebook, Drew Ebanks on Twitter, and onpointbasketball.com. Thank you, guys. Great to hear all the trades going on in the NBA. It's Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Where did he end up now? Out of Utah. I can't remember, but he was moved as well. So good luck to Nickeil. And the Canadians are obviously, we mentioned Kem Birch as well. He's gone, and hopefully he's going to find a spot in the rotation also. Canadians, they're always doing good things. You saw, as we mentioned, Shea, what he did when they faced the Lakers. He did his thing, took down LeBron and the Lakers as well. Just seeing here, where did he go? Nickeil.
He went to Memphis. He went to Minnesota.
He went to Minnesota, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a logjam there at the guard spot. Hey, maybe they buy him out. Maybe the Raptors pick him up. I think he could bring some shooting and a big guard that the Raptors could use, I think. And you know what? To be honest with you, he can actually play some point. So I think, look out to see what happens with Alexander Walker. I think he's a player that has a lot of upside still. For this NBA basketball game. So let's hope he does well where he is, and maybe, you never know, he'll end up in his hometown of Toronto, Canada.
Thanks a lot to Anthony K. and Drew Ebanks. This has been NBA Jump Ball, the trade deadline recap. Thanks a lot, Drew.
Thanks, Joe.
That was Drew Ebanks and Anthony K. with NBA Jump Ball trade deadline recap. Of course, these guys are really big, and check out Anthony K. Sports Fluent. His show, really great, caught ESPN's eyes and everything like that. We're going to go to my good friend. We haven't seen him in a few weeks, Steve Carney of Tampa Bay, St. Petersburg area. Steve, a very big part now really an MLB, Major League Baseball executive. And we talk a little bit Major League Baseball, and you'll see Steve also with talking wrestling, and then followed with John Carlo about wrestling and MMA, UFC. But here is Steve Carney talking about Major League Baseball. Hey everybody, this is Joseph Pasek to the Fired Up Network. Welcome to a special Super Bowl edition of NFL Blitz with my good friend Tampa, St. Petersburg. I haven't seen him maybe in a year, all right, since 2023. Steve Carney. Steve has told me that he hasn't, he's getting very sluggish, hasn't worked and in around Tampa, and doesn't, Then I said, I called my good friends at Major League Baseball. Steve Carney, the Major League Baseball executive, is complaining that he's not working. Steve, when the president of the provinces of Canada calls and Major League Baseball listens, what did they do to you, Steve?
Well, obviously, you talked to the commissioner of the World Baseball Classic, because this has turned into an absolute, I won't call it a nightmare, but it is a nightmare-like scenario for people who enjoy maybe getting a day off here or there, because that's not happening to your boy. I'm going to be a busy beaver here. Starting like next week, and not stopping until probably sometime in November.
All right, so I think you got 34 games in 30 days. So
I have 33 games in 31 days during spring training with nary a single day off.
So Steve,
I will work every day.
So I'm going to tell you, you have to take care of your glutes.
Fire my glutes? What am I? Who am I, Tiger Woods?
You have to take care of your hamstring, your elbow, and all that. So I just have to
worry about not falling over like a sack of potatoes like I did during Christmas, giving myself a high ankle sprain like Patrick Mahomes.
Now, what do you have to do for media training there? Because 33 days and 31 days, 33 games in 31 days. Really, Steve, you got to do some extra stretching and you got to get your mind ready and all that.
Obviously, I've got to strengthen my lead foot, because there's going to be at least one day where it's going to be. I have one day where I've got two games. The first one is a 1:00 first pitch in Clearwater, and the second one is a 6:00 first pitch in Sarasota, which is about an hour and a half drive from Clearwater. And thank God for the pitch clock, because I could only imagine what it would be like if it was like, say, 4:30, and I have to try and get there for 6:00. And oh, by the way, it's on a Friday, so of course you're gonna have Friday rush hour. But you know what? I asked for this. This is the job I signed up for, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm getting to be a part of what will be a first group. I'm going to be one of the first people ever to work the pitch clock in a major league game. I get to do that on February 25th in Lakeland for the Detroit Tigers. That'll be fun. So I get to be one of the first people ever to do a spring training game with the pitch clock.
Now, Steve, stop complaining. You're a Major League Baseball executive. Then you get paid.
Trust me, if I was an executive, Joe, I would first give myself a raise, and secondly, I would fire Marty Roberts. I would fire Marty Roberts.
Why don't you think about the independent owners of companies like FiredUp Network? Throw them a bone, you selfish prick! Come on. All right.
What was that? You said you want me to bone independent owners like the folks at the FiredUp Network? I will screw you over in a heartbeat.
By the way, Steve, I'm very disappointed with you. Very disappointed. Last night, yesterday, my birthday, 49 year. Next year, you're coming to Toronto. My big 50th. 50th.
I got you the same thing I got you last year, Joe.
Yeah, nothing, which makes it the same thing for 2 years and 3 years
means
and 4 years.
Means it's always in your size.
I
got you that Dunedin hat. I got you the bucket hat.
Yeah, what are you getting me this year? You didn't even.
I'm not even going
to me, Daddy-O. Come on, they lost the tag team titles.
I'm not even going to be in Dunedin this year for spring training. That's amazing. I've got 11 games featuring the New York Yankees at Steinbrenner Field. I've got 8 more in Clearwater. I got 5 at the Trop. I've got 4 in Lakeland. I'll go to Bradenton, Sarasota. I'm even going to Northport to see the Atlanta Braves. But I'm not going to Dunedin to see the Blue Jays. I'm not going to get to see my old friend Kevin Kiermaier in spring training. I am kind of upset about that. I would like to see KK, but I'm not going to get to see him at home. I will get a chance to see him a couple times on the road. So I definitely will make sure I say hi to him if he's coming. But
did you mention you're going to see the New York Yankees 11 times? So you want my?
I got 11 games at Steinbrenner Field.
All right, 11. So here's my birthday present. I'll
least
tell you right now.
Least favorite spring training venue.
I'll tell you right now. We'll get to why, but I'll tell you right now what you're going to do for my birthday. Okay? You see number 99 in New York Yankee colors, right? His name is Aaron Judge, right? You tell him, Aaron, here, look at my new computer screen and my everything. You slip your hand down his pants and take his wallet and
let me just slip my hand down Aaron Judge's pants. Come on, man.
All right. So we go from that to Major League Baseball. Then we'll do a Super Bowl preview here. But let's talk about Tampa Bay. Let's talk about the Blue Jays. Start off with the Blue Jays. Bo Bichette finally does not do arbitration. Signs a 3-year deal for nobody knows how much money. Okay, it's from what I hear, it's $33 million, but whatever. Okay, and they signed Vlad and they signed this. What is the hole? And you're from Tampa, so it's not biased. What do you think is the hole that has to be filled still with a couple weeks heading into spring training?
Well, I mean, I think the big question for Toronto is going to be, Bo Bichette's always had issues in the field, at shortstop. Are you willing to go through another 162 game campaign with Bo Bichette as your shortstop, or are you looking to maybe move him to the outfield or move him to third base or whatever you think you might want to do with Bo Bichette? I think that's going to be that's an issue. I am still curious to see what the Blue Jays bullpen looks like. this year. We all know, and the folks in there in Toronto certainly understand what Jordan Romano brings to the table. But I would like to see how how John Schneider and the coaching staff are going to piece things from the starting pitching staff, which I think is good, to Romano, who I think is good, using a couple of pieces that the jury's still out on. So I think that those are the two biggest pieces, of those groups. The other thing is you've got three or four pieces that, especially three that signed in this offseason that are known for not being on the field all the time. You've got a couple of guys that have lower body issues that are now going to spend 81 games on the turf at Rogers Center. Now, one of them is used to spending 81 home games on the turf in Kevin Kiermaier, but Brandon Belt has had knee issues, and I know he's not going to play every day, but he's going to still be playing on the turf at Rogers Center. Dalton Varsho's had injury issues, and of course, George Spring a couple of years ago in 2021 had injury issues with the Blue Jays. If those guys stay healthy, I think they've got a very strong outfield, and with Brandon Belt, the guy that you can platoon. But the question is, can those four guys stay healthy?
All right, let's get to the Rays. Are you happy with what they did in the offseason? And what's this I hear about finally revamping Tropicana Field or a new field? Or go ahead, tell everybody, because we've talked about this for, 3-4 years.
Yeah, it really has been. It's been kind of crazy. We'll start with the stadium, because I think that's been the big question for the Rays hanging over their head is, where is this new stadium going to be? Is it going to be in the Tampa Bay area? Are they going to look to try and move the team out of Tampa Bay to someplace else? Charlotte and Montreal and Nashville and Las Vegas and Portland are all looking to try and bring Major League Baseball to their cities, and they were curious as to whether they felt that those places could be more viable than the Tampa Bay market, and the answer turned out to be no. And not only did it not turn out to be the case, it turned out that the ideal spot for this new stadium is, drum roll please, right where the old stadium is, in the Tropicana Field site. And I know people will go, well, people don't go there now. What makes you think that if you build a new stadium that there's going to be more people that go there? When they built Tropicana Field back in the late 80s, what they did was they built a ballpark. And what teams have learned around Major League Baseball, especially over the last, say, 7 to 10 years, is that when you're looking, you can't just build a ballpark. Look at what's going on in Miami with the Marlins. They built that brand new ballpark in the shadow of what was then the Orange Bowl, but there's nothing around it. So of course people aren't going to go. People want to go when it becomes a destination for other things apart from baseball. Look at what Atlanta did with their new ballpark in Cobb County. They built a whole residential and retail area around it to kind of draw people in, not just for ball games, but for other things as well. Look at San Diego. Yes, I know San Diego's is downtown, but they built up the gas lamp district around Petco Park. Look at what happened in Washington, D.C. with Nationals Park. It was in a not very good neighborhood in Washington, D.C., but they've built around it and they made it a nice area to be in, the Navy Yard area in D.C. And that's what the Rays want to do in St. Petersburg. There's going to be new residential. There's going to be new retail. There's going to be this green space. There's going to be a lot going on other than just a ballpark. And I think that that's going to make a difference in wanting and making people want to come across those bridges that everybody talks about. I don't want to go crack the bridge. They're going to want to come across the bridge to experience this. And Not only that, by building more residential close to the ballpark, you also bring the number of people within a 30-minute drive up, which is a good sign as well. So that's the stadium side of things. Now, on the field, for the most part, I've been pretty pleased with what the Rays have done. Have they gone out and made a splash, signing a big name free agent? Did they get Xander Bogaerts? Did they get Trey Turner? Did they get Dansby Swanson? No, of course they didn't. They didn't need a shortstop. They've got a shortstop locked up long term. But what they did was they helped to fortify what they do best, and that is pitch. They went out and got Zach Eflin for 3 years and $40 million, and then used their money not to go out and bring somebody in, but to keep the folks that are here locked up for the long term. They go out and they sign Jeffrey Springs. They give Jeffrey Springs 4 years. They give Pete Fairbanks 3 years. They give Yandy Diaz 3 years. I like those moves because it helps to build out the core. Wander Franco, that deal is the core. Brandon Lau is the core. And now you're starting to see, okay, you've got Manuel Margot, you've got Jose Siri, you've got Yandy Diaz, you've got Jeffrey Springs, you've got Drew Rasmussen, you've got all these pieces now, and you're building a nice, tight core to go along, or the pieces to build on that core of the Wander Francos, Brandon Laus, etc.
So, continuing in the AL East, there's some talk, and I heard maybe you hear of this, that they want to revamp Camden Yards. Throughout baseball, Camden Yards is the stadium of all stadiums, put it that way. And now they want to revamp it. What do you hear they want to do with Camden Yards?
I mean, yes, Camden Yards is the prototype. There was cookie cutters. And Tropicana Field is really one of the last of the cookie cutters between it and U.S. Cellular Field and the Rogers Center, all built in the late 80s and built for multiple purposes. Rogers Center has hosted, Canadian football. It's hosted American football. It's hosted baseball. You look at Tropicana Field, it's hosted baseball. It's hosted football. It's hosted hockey. So they've had all of these things that have gone on. U.S. Cellular Field has hosted football. It's hosted hockey. It's hosted baseball. But really, Camden Yards was become the new jewel boxes. Fit into a neighborhood and is beautiful, and everybody remembers when Camden Yards opened. If you're over 35, you remember when Camden Yards opened. But remember, Camden Yards is 30 years old now. And so they are looking to try and revamp things. I don't think they're going to rebuild Camden Yards per se, but you're going to start seeing, and you've started seeing it a little bit, things are going to get tweaked here and there. They moved the seats back at Camden out in left center, so it's not quite so easy to hit home runs in. You're going to see some other things that are going to go on. You're going to see revamping of the luxury areas to make them more suitable for today's sports fan, which is totally different than it was back in 1993. I'm kind of curious to see what how they look at what's going to go on with some of these new stadiums that are being built. The new Tropicana Field, the new Oakland A's stadium, whether that be at the Howard Terminal in Oakland or in Las Vegas or in Portland. I really do think that you're going to see pieces that are going to be taken from some of these new stadiums for projects like what they're going to do in Camden Yards. I mean, let's face it. Sports betting is going to be a big part of things going forward, and it would not surprise me if you see ballparks with sports books in them that are going to be open year round, so you're always getting people in there and there's always revenue coming through those buildings.
So you keep on mentioning, from what you hear, new teams in Vegas and Portland, Nashville, and all that. If I'm going to ask you, when they expand, they're not going to expand to one team, all right?
No, they're going to do 2. You're going to go. This is not the NHL. You don't go 30, 31, 32. You go 30 to 32, and then there's talk of also realigning the divisions at that point.
Yeah.
Because at 32, it makes sense that you go with 4-team divisions in each league, and then it makes setting up your divisionals a little easier. It makes setting up, especially with how the schedule is becoming more balanced. It's not completely balanced, but having 19 games against divisional opponents is going to be is a little tough. But if you're going to say have of your 162 games, if you're going to have 36 of them be against the other 3 divisional opponents, and that gives you 130 games to work in the other 28 teams at that point. So I think it makes sense that you go from 6 divisions to 8 at that point.
So is it basically one American League, one national? And
it'll be one American, because right now the leagues are at 215. So obviously you're going to go to 216s, but then the question becomes, does a team flip back? Because remember, Milwaukee, now in the National League, used to be in the American League. Houston, now in the American League, used to be in the National League. You could do one of each and then have flip and flip around. Do not be surprised if those 2 teams, Milwaukee and Houston particularly, end up flipping back. And then up flipping back to the original leagues. That could happen. Be very interesting, because the Astros have had their success in the American League. How will things be different if they move back to the National League? I don't think you have to worry too much, because there's the universal DH, but it could be interesting. Will there be a team? Could Houston become the first team to win a World Series as both an American League and a National League team?
And will they be cheating in the never mind. All right, so I'm going to be asking you this. 2 teams, you say. If I say, okay, we're 2023, 2025, which 2 teams you think will be awarded expansion?
I don't think expansion's coming that quickly. I think they're going to want to get those 2 new stadiums up and running, and then you look to so I'm thinking expansions are going to be like 20. I think they may announce it in 2027 and be ready to go in 2030. That being said, even if they announce it in 2025 and say, okay, now that we've got the stadiums situations resolved in Tampa Bay and Oakland, and now we can look to expand, and they do it in 2025. I am kind of curious, because that the expansion fee is going to be something ridiculous.
Yep.
And then it becomes, okay, who's got the money to in hand? Because it's going to be like $3 or $4 billion, I would assume, minimum, for an expansion fee, and maybe even more than that, depending on some of the other sales of teams in other sports. Now, you look at the price that you're going to get in some of these other teams, like what they paid for the Phoenix, or what that guy just paid for the Phoenix Suns, or what Jeff Bezos may be looking to pay to buy the Washington Commanders from Dan Snyder. But I really do think that it's part of the reason why Major League Baseball was against the split season for the Tampa Bay Rays, other than the fact that it was a stupid idea. They thought, why are we going to take $1 billion of Stephen Bronfman's money for one ownership group when we could have $3 or $4 billion of Stephen Bronfman's money and split it between every ownership group? I don't know if Montreal is that group, though.
Not Montreal.
I don't think it's going to be Montreal. It would not surprise me if one of them is Nashville and the other one is Portland. I don't say Vegas only because I think that the Oakland A's are going to end up in Las Vegas.
That's what I hear. So this is what I have heard just recently, and maybe you can say yes, no, whatever. Oakland goes to Vegas. Nashville gets an expansion team, and another expansion team happens more in the East Coast. I heard so maybe Charlotte. Maybe they go Charlotte, Nashville, Vegas gets Oakland, and all that. Is when they go to Charlotte and Nashville, is that too close to have two expansion teams, or should they go somewhere else? I don't even know. I'm just speculating because I know one thing: Nashville's getting a team, and Vegas is going to get either Oakland or going to get a team. That's what I heard. I heard by 2025. Now the third team, where it's going to be an expansion team, I don't know. I hear Charlotte, but I think Charlotte Nashville may be too close. Do you hear any other team? Because if you're going to go with Oakland to Vegas, Portland and Vegas, basically it's the same like Charlotte and Nashville.
Yeah, that's why I think it might be Nashville and Portland with the A's going to Vegas.
But that's still too close, right?
It's not as close as you think. I mean, Portland's out on the water. Vegas is down in the desert. And you really have to look at, okay, how do we regionally, because once you go to 32, it makes sense to go to 4-14 divisions in each league.
So where are you going to put Vegas? Okay, goes with LA, Arizona, and Anaheim, and then where are you going to leave Portland with Seattle or?
Yeah, I mean that's where the question becomes: do you make it Vegas, Arizona, and remember you've got 5 teams in that area because you've got Vegas, you've got Arizona, you've got San Diego, and you've got both LA teams at that point, and so it may make sense to go. Mostly because Arizona is in the Mountain Time Zone and Vegas is in the Pacific Time Zone, to go Vegas, San Diego, and the 2 LA teams, and then move Arizona in with the Texas teams, which are in the Central Time Zone. And so you would have Arizona, you would have Dallas and the Rangers and the Astros, and then probably Colorado, because that's also Mountain Time Zone. So that makes a little more sense. It's a little bit more of a travel issue logistically. It's not as simple as Vegas, San Diego, and the 2 LA teams, but it kind of makes sense. And then you would have San Francisco with Portland and Seattle, and I'm trying to think off the top of my head where you could go with that, but those 3, and maybe you could add something in there. But again, this is all something that's going to happen, and it's going to be figured out by people that are a hell of a lot smarter than me at this point. So I'm just speculating as a reporter of how I would do it.
And the other team, I did hear the other team. The other team, for me, it makes a little bit of sense. Indianapolis.
It's too small of a TV market. Okay. That's the other thing that I know that that the owners are certainly looking at on the American side of things. You have to look at what the different television markets are, and so as I look it up here, you look at Charlotte is as I'm trying to pull this up very quickly. Portland and Charlotte are numbers 21 and 22. Indianapolis is 25. Nashville is 29. Crazily enough. So, but you're looking at a lot of teams, and Vegas is 40. So, that's the other thing that you've got to look at, is they're also looking at.
So is there any other team that maybe are top 20 that's not in baseball yet?
Really, it's funny you mention it. Here are the top 20 markets television wise in the United States. Of course, New York is 1, LA, Chicago is 3, Philadelphia, Dallas, San Francisco is 6, Atlanta, Houston, Washington D.C., Boston, Phoenix, Seattle, Tampa, Minneapolis, Detroit, Denver, Orlando is 17, but it's combined with Daytona Beach. Miami is 18, Cleveland is 19, Sacramento is 20. So, but would you want to play in Sacramento, or would you want to play in Portland, which is 21?
Yeah, Portland.
So, yeah, I would. If I'm Major League Baseball, I don't think there's much difference between 20 and 21. But you look at it, Portland is 21, Charlotte is 22, Raleigh-Durham is 23, Indianapolis 25. Looking at some of the other cities that don't have baseball that are in like the top 50, Indianapolis, Nashville is 29, Salt Lake City is 30, San Antonio is 31, Hartford is 32. And then you're starting to get into some of the smaller, what you would call college towns, like Columbus, Ohio, Greenville, North Carolina, and the Asheville, so Western North Carolina, Austin, Texas, Grand Rapids, Michigan, which you're not going to go to, Jacksonville, Oklahoma City. That's now you're getting close to 50.
So, like you said, it could be like Vegas and Nashville, and maybe outside. I've heard Indianapolis, and you mentioned 25. So that's realistically those 3 teams, maybe with Charlotte there also, but those 3-4 teams there expanding in Major League Baseball.
The other thing to remember is television and territorial rights.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the whole issue that we had when the Nationals came back or were moved from Montreal with Baltimore. Baltimore, that had been their legacy territorial rights for over 30 years at that point. So they ended up having. So if you go to Indianapolis, you're basically smack dab between, say, Cleveland and Chicago.
Well, Cincinnati too, right?
And Cincinnati, yes. Those are the big teams that you've got to worry about at that point. Is how much you are infringing on the Guardians, the Reds, and the 2 Chicago teams.
All right, so that's the baseball talk here. We'll get to that's Steve Carney, a good friend of mine from Tampa Bay, St. Petersburg, Florida. He'll be back with a wrestling. But again, want to take this special opportunity and belated happy birthday to Daniel Spencer, referee for the Fired Up Network. Old Lefty 22, the grizzled young veteran Marty Roberts, turning 62, never looks a day over 52. Myself, also want to thank my family. Great birthday, one of the best birthdays ever yesterday. I want to thank my family, mom, dad, uncle, brother, sister, girlfriend Patricia, really going out of her way, and somebody who's very unsung here, who really did me, and I was moved, is Alexis. I want to give her a special shout out, Alexis. Thank you for the gift. Thank you for the phone call. Really meant a lot. And do well in school. Attend school. School is very important for the kids who want to be on the Fired Up Network, and I make them a superstar. Also, Patricia tells me, Alexis, don't forget to brush your teeth. All right? So we'll throw it into now my good friend, Giancarlo Alino, who is going to talk a little wrestling here. Of course, we haven't talked about wrestling and everything like that. Here's Giancarlo Alino on the On the Mat Wrestling Show. Big pay-per-view this week from Tampa Bay, NWA. Enough said. Here's Giancarlo. Hey everybody, this is Joseph Hasek, and welcome to the Fired Up Network. Welcome to the On the Mat Wrestling Show with my good friend Giancarlo Alino, who did not give me a birthday present. Very, 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 but he, who has better hair? Like I cut my hair and like a better shirt here and all that. Giancarlo, 49 years old. Do I look 49? Till next year, you better come up with something big. The big 5-0. Do I look 49, Giancarlo?
No, not at all.
That's the best compliment you ever gave me. All right, we're going to first start off the On the Mat wrestling show with some... Let's start off with the good news and then the bad news, all right? Here, broken here first on, Fired Up Network. Now, next Saturday, Giancarlo is not going to go to Montreal. He is barred from going to Montreal like one of the Usos. I'll get to that in a second, all right? He's barred, but it looks like Elimination Chamber. Of course, you have Sami Zayn, Roman Reigns, but it looks like you have Damage Control, Bayley, Dakota Kai, Io Sky up against Becky Lynch, Lita, and who, Giancarlo? Who? You're very good friends with her. Who? A York University alum who started on live audio wrestling. Who's that? Look at him. It's Trish Stratus, Lita, and Becky Lynch against Damage Control. Trish Stratus will be on Raw from Brooklyn at the Barclays Center Monday. That will happen. By the way, you've seen Bayley with an arm in this thing. Watch that be a storyline. All right? Watch that be a storyline there. So that is what's going to happen here. Also, great promo by Cody Rhodes and the wise man, second wise man, number one wise man, me, Paul Heyman on Raw. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought that was great. I just hope that they have other things planned because I don't want it to be the focus on Dusty Rhodes here. Like it's Cody Rhodes who's trying to be a star on his own. And if they keep going back to the well there, then everyone's just going to assume, okay, it's the whole program's about Dusty Rhodes. So I hope the focus goes back on Cody. Maybe Roman will take a dig at AEW and make that storyline a little more personal in that regard. But yeah, I thought it was fine and a good way to start the program for WrestleMania.
So let me ask you, it's right now, as we sit here, February 9th, it's Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes. Should it be Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, and Sami Zayn? Because, I mentioned the Usos. Here it is. One of the Usos cannot come across the border because of prior DUIs. So if they're trying to negotiate with the government, and I'm the president of provinces of Canada, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, we can make magic happen. But anyways, so if that doesn't happen, look for them to film a vignette taking out Sami Zayn a little bit or whatever, causing Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn against the Usos for the tag team titles at WrestleMania, or that, like I mentioned, could be Sami Zayn, Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, or it could be night one, Roman Reigns, Sami Zayn part 2, and then Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, and night 2. Again, everything changes because they wanted Roman Reigns and The Rock. That's, what we hear now and everything like that. So again, everything is fluent and everything could change here. But you know what changed? A title change on AEW Dynamite last night. And boy, the Guns are your new tag team champions. They defeated the Acclaim. Now, Giancarlo, I have only 3 words for you. Scissor me, daddy-o! They lost. What happens then?
I think they're going to rematch, and I think Billy Gunn's going to turn on the Acclaimed.
Correct. For once, you got a prediction right. Correct. Now, as I was celebrating my birthday without a present from Giancarlo Lino, notice I'm going to mention that 45 times, all right? I get a call. From my good Jewish friend. Do you know who it is?
No.
Maxwell Jacob Friedman. He mentioned, by the way, the Liv he was mentioning was Liv Morgan. All right. He was dating her and all that. All right. Great promo by MJF. Bryan Danielson, pay-per-view March 5th. Are you excited?
Yeah, it's a great show. It's going to shape up to be one. It's going to lead into when they come back to Canada, when they go to Winnipeg. So I'm looking forward to that. Interesting to see what they're going to have planned for that trios title with Kenny Omega and the Elite. So should be an interesting one.
Yeah, and don't forget, you mentioned the tag team title changing hands. I don't think MJF's going to lose, but the trios title, and you know what? I have under good authority that Adam Cole, baby, may be making his wrestling, I shouldn't say debut, return in Winnipeg. Who can Adam Cole go up against in Winnipeg? Very interesting. Maybe it's that guy who appeared against Ricky Starks in a mask and everything. Maybe. What do you say?
I think it'd be a nice storyline. Should go with it. But Adam Cole now, he's going to put the whole roster there on notice. It's just going to be interesting to see what Tony Khan has planned for him.
All right, so I got a question about finally about AEW Ladies Division. Who's a face and who's a heel? Because it looks like they got everybody now. Paige turning heel. Everybody's a heel. It's Ruby Soho as face or a heel now because she's sort of going with Britt Baker. So is Britt Baker a face or a heel? Who is a face and who is a heel? All I know is Jade Cargill, face heel. She's the best. Go ahead.
I don't even know who's a face and heel anymore either. Jade Cargill was a baby face for a few weeks, even when they came to Canada for Dynamite and Rampage. A few weeks have followed because of that whole Nyla Rose angle, and then she's a heel again. And I don't know what's going on with Britt Baker. Maybe they want Saraya to be the top heel, but it's all confusing. At the end, as long as the matches are great and the quality improves, then that's all you can ask for.
All right, I want to talk about two other things here. Just head back to WWE and NXT. Mella is money. That's all I'm saying. And Mello never misses. Mello against Braun Breaker. I think this is the end of Braun Breaker being a champion. I think after WrestleMania, Braun Breaker will break something in the WWE main roster. What do you say?
I hope so. I think he's ready, and it just would add a lot more depth to whatever roster, freshen things up. Maybe he goes after Austin Theory. They can go for the U.S. title with Braun Breaker, so it should be interesting.
All right. So as you can see here in the background, I don't know how many people know that there's a pay-per-view, not Premier Live event, pay-per-view. Again, not Premier Live event. It's by the NWA. Now, Giancarlo, you were missed last week here on Fired Up Network Wrestling Show. You attended the ceremony, the wedding ceremony of Aaron Stevens. All right. Giancarlo, by the way, I spoke to Aaron. He is really, really pissed off at you. You had one job to make everything legal. You were with Santino, not Santino, Santimo. All right. You were with Santimo. You had to. She's from Brazil. You had to make sure she can stay in America and all that. And you failed. Now, Aaron Stevens, I don't know if he's going to finish with May Valentine, or maybe it's going to be Valentine May. Maybe he goes after Bully Ray. Maybe he goes after Giancarlo, but he is really pissed off. Do you want to say anything, because Aaron Stevens watches the show like crazy, anything to Aaron Stevens?
My bad. My mistake there. Hopefully the next time everything will be all legal and ready to go.
Wait a minute. There's going to be a next time? When you get married, don't you just get married once?
Well, his was not legal, right? So got to make sure it's legal for the next time.
All right. So
he
goes
through with it.
Aaron, I'm going to call Aaron. Are all the papers ready? Are all the papers ready for you?
I hope so.
Right.
Make sure all the signatures are there.
This Saturday, February 11th, the NWA has a pay-per-view called Nuff Said from Tampa Bay, Florida. We're going to get to the preview right now. A pre-show match between Misha Kate and Rosa Negra has been added. So pre-show match, who you calling this? I don't even think you've seen both of these wrestlers. Just pick one.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of them wrestle, so I'll go with Misha in this one. I guess that'll be my pick.
All right. Addison versus Joe Alonso. Have you seen both of these guys?
I have. You know what, Joe Alonso, to me, I think will get the win here. We'll see how long this match gets, but if it's on the pre-show, I think they'll give it a lot of time just to let
It's
their
not a pre-show, it's a
following
main
angles.
card. The only pre-show
Yeah,
is
so I think hopefully they'll give it some time, but I got Joe Alonso getting a win there.
All right, Genocide and Max Impaler versus Mauricio and Natalia.
Yeah, this is a match where it seems like their women's division, ever since they had Thunder Rosa there, it was all up in the air there. Like, no one knows who was going to be where after that whole program. So now it's just like they're trying to find their identity in that division. I just don't see really anyone really emerge as a top challenger for Camille. But if this is where they're going with this, I think Natalia Markova and Mauricio are going to get the winner.
All right. Then you got Blake Troop and Jack Dane versus Mims and Dak Draper.
Yeah, this one, it's another one of those other matches too where you don't know where it's going to go. I go with the Bulletproof Troop there. I think his team gets to win, him and Jack Dane.
NWA Tag Team titles, La Rebellion versus Blunt Force Trauma with Aaron Stevens.
Yeah, wherever Aaron is involved here, that's how you know they're going to get a win. So I got Blunt Force Trauma getting the win. Aaron being a manager there of the new NWA Tag Champs. So I got La Rebellion dropping the titles.
Junior Heavyweight Champion Kenny Morton versus Alex Taylor.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. Kerry Morton, him just carrying on that legacy. This is going to be Taylor, I think that cash-in thing that they were doing. So if they're going with that, I think Danny Deals on the outside is going to play a role, and we'll see a new champion there with Alex Taylor.
Look at Giancarlo, NWA dropping the bombs there. EC3 versus Kevin Kiley, formerly Alex Riley.
Yeah, this is one good for both of them that they're in the NWA. I think EC3 needs a lot. And just to get momentum back, he at one point was viewed as like a top free agent. And when WWE got him back, it just didn't really work out. He went to the main roster, didn't really work out. They weren't really using him. Now an NWA and an Impact. Like, I hope this is something where it kickstarts something for him. But I think EC3 should get the win here.
You're calling EC3 in the win there. All right. Trevor Murdoch versus Chris Adonis.
Yeah, the whole master lock, Chris Adonis on Trevor Murdoch, I think is what's going to be the end of the match. I think Trevor Murdoch, they'll have teases there that he'll break out of it, maybe squeak out a win, but I think by the end of the match, we'll see Chris win with that master lock.
Tom Latimer versus Forder in a Singapore cane match.
Yeah, these stipulation matches, like the whole Singapore cane thing, that sounds like it might be a disaster, but I'll go Tom Latimer.
Cane? Is there ever a Canadian cane, American cane, a Russian cane? What? Everywhere,
Yeah.
every time they say Singapore cane. Like, are all canes made in Singapore?
I think Tom Latimer gets a win. I'm not expecting a clinic here of wrestling. I think this is going to be a short one, and Tom Latimer gets a quick win.
And the ladies' title on the line. Camille, who is like Roman Reigns, never loses, taking on Angelina Love, good friend of mine, in a no DQ match.
Yeah, I think this will be a long match. I don't see Angelina Love winning it. I see Camille getting the win. Probably go through some adversity during the match where it'll look like Angelina Love is going to get the win, get the title, but I think Camille ends up getting her hand raised.
NWA National Champion Cyron defends against Homicide.
Yeah, aside back in the fold, the NWA. Austin Idol involved. I think he's going to play a role in this, maybe interference by the manager. I think Scion retains.
All right, and then the main event of Nuff Said, Matt Cardona, aka Zack Ryder, but he can't even get the trade name of Zack Ryder, with Bully Ray on commentating, defends against Tyrus for the NWA title. Now it's a no DQ, and you have to win, and they could kill each other, and blah blah blah.
Yeah, I think Tyrus gets the win here. Bully Ray being on commentary, I think, is a little interesting. I think Tyrus beats Matt Cardona. Matt Cardona, even though he isn't able to get that Zack Ryder name there, trademark, he'll eventually be Zack Ryder after WrestleMania when he goes back to WWE. So I got Tyrus retaining.
All right, that's the NWA Nuts pay-per-view this Saturday, 8 p.m. from Tampa Bay, Florida. I mentioned when we started out the show, we have good news and some bad news. That's actually not that bad news. Jerry the King Lawler this week suffered a stroke. He could not, he was paralyzed for a little bit. He still has a problem speaking. But, you know, what happened in Montreal, they're coming back to Montreal in a week. He had a heart attack on the air, and that was, 2011, right? So that's 12 years ago. 12 years ago, and now hopefully he comes back and everything like that. So speedy recovery to Jerry the King Lawler. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, just the same thing there. Very unfortunate when you see those kind of headlines pop up, and just that he was recently on TV not too long ago. So that's
he was at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, so it is unfortunate, and when you see the positive news come up, hopefully for a speedy recovery there.
Yeah, and SummerSlam has been named at Ford Field in Detroit on Saturday, August 5th. Look for Toronto to get the Raw after it on Monday, August 7th. All right, Giancarlo, tell everybody how they could get a hold of you. You'll be back for the UFC On Guard show where we preview UFC 284, but go ahead.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter, John_411, Instagram, Giancarlo_Alino, and check out my articles on firedupnetwork.ca.
All right, Giancarlo, thanks a lot. You got about an hour to go get my present. That's Giancarlo Alino on the Wrestling Show / On The Mat Wrestling Show. And don't forget NWA Nuff Said pay-per-view this Saturday, February 11th from Tampa Bay, Florida. Now, speaking from Tampa Bay, Florida, once again, I throw it to Steve Carney, who gives his thoughts on the world of professional wrestling. Steve actually talked to Leaping Lenny Poffel. He tells you about that story right now. Turn of Trish Stratus on Raw as she comes back in Montreal next. Premier live event, not pay-per-view, premier live event. Elimination Chamber in Montreal Saturday. It will be Damage Control, Bayley, Io Sky, Dakota Kai up against Becky Lynch, up against Lita, and up against Trish Stratus. Are you excited, Steve?
Sure.
Keep your excitement to yourself, Steve. Now I gotta say this. Be reminiscent if I don't talk about this. Jerry the King Lawler had a stroke this week.
Yeah, here in town. Well, not technically here in town, down in Fort Myers. It's about 3 hours from here.
Did you hear anything about that? And also, I haven't had you on in a couple weeks. So, Leaping Lenny Poffel passing away last week. Also, go ahead, Steve.
Yeah. Lanny is a guy that I know pretty well from here in town. Lanny lived here in Tampa for many, many years, as did his brother, obviously Macho Man Randy Savage, who I knew as well. But with the latest on the King is what I've seen from Jimmy Hart, who visited him in the hospital, which was King looked good, pretty good for a guy that just had a massive stroke. But the word is that while he is having some speech issues and some has lost a little feeling on the right side of his body. The word is that he is going to regain all of that, and that he is expected to make a full recovery, which is fantastic to hear. So I'm excited for that. It'll be great to see King when the next time he's on television. I'm sure it's going to be a while now, but I wouldn't be surprised that if, say, come Survivor Series, they don't surprise everybody and say, please welcome Jerry, WWE Hall of Famer Jerry the King Lawler, and he comes out to an enormous applause because he is so beloved by everybody. But yeah, from what Jimmy Hart has said, it looks like it's good news on the side of the King. Now for Lanny Poffo, I was floored when I found out that he had died, because I had just heard from him a couple of weeks ago. Lanny was living in South America, in Ecuador, of all places, because cost of living is very, very cheap down there. And every time I saw Lanny, he had a different like 25-year-old Ecuadorian girl on his arm. I was like, good for you, man. But this is a guy that, like I said, 2-3 weeks ago, was all over social media. Like I saw Lanny on Facebook, and I was like, dude, he's talking about how great he felt. So,
and did they even say how he died or why he died?
No, I have not heard a cause for Lanny, but I just, it's so sad because he was the last of the Poffos. Yeah. He was the one. Like I reached out to him. He always put something out on Facebook whenever it was like his mother's birthday. He adored his mother. Judy was just amazing, and lived to be like 95. Which I always thought, if because Angelo was around for as long as he was. I mean, Angelo was in his 90s, I believe, and Judy was like 95 when she passed away. So I figured Lanny would be around for a while, and for him to be gone as young as he was, and 60, late 60s is young. Even I know for wrestlers that's an old, that's a long life, but I figured he would be around for at least another 10 or 15 years.
Yeah, and we're going from the King to a genius. Now I got to talk also in Clearwater, Tampa area. It looks like Hogan is not feeling his legs. He's walking around with a cane. That's the latest I hear. And also, go ahead, Steve.
I haven't heard anything about Terry. So,
and I know, Steve, you're Saturday. You're in Tampa. You have been requested. You don't know this. I see the spoiler right here. You have been requested. Steve Carney. I don't know his address, but here's the invitation, Joe. Give it to Steve Carney. You've been requested by Aaron Stevens to appear at NWA Nuff Said pay-per-view in Tampa. Aaron Stevens is looking for another future wife. There may be a marriage. Santimo has sent me this. So Steve, here it is. I'm virtually giving you this. Listen, look. I'm virtually giving you this. It's from Santimo, not to be confused with Santino. Santimo. All right. And by the way, Giancarlo screwed up. He was supposed to get all the licenses and all that. Aaron, I apologize for Giancarlo. What can you want from Giancarlo Avino, who's busy doing nothing for Fired Up Network and just writing for Sports Gita? Steve, any last comments?
Yeah, I'm excited. I knew that NWA was doing their Nuff Said event here in town. It's gonna be nice to see Aaron. It's been a while.
He wants you to wear eyeliner. He wants you to wear eyeliner also.
That's a little. He knows that's a little much. Yeah, thank you. He knows that's a little much for me.
All right, Steve. As we close it out, tell everybody how they can get a hold of you. Of course, you do the Under the Orange Roof podcast. Is still under Orange Roof, or because who knows what the roof is now?
The roof is still orange at this place, and I would assume that it's going to be orange at the new place as well. But you can always catch me. I am at Steve Carney, as I point at it on my lower third, and then of course stpete9.com. You can see it on the crawl going across as you're watching this. For all Tampa Bay Rays news, you can get daily updates on the Rays from Rays Game Day Now from Bally Sports as well.
All right, that's one of the best. And Steve, I'm going to call you Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
What are you, baseball? Come
Major
on.
League Baseball. I need to talk to an executive. I need to ask him how my hair is, how my eyebrow is, and everything like that. But Steve, since most likely I won't have you on next week, all right? Next week, and you're the man I always go to. You're the man. I know Emily may be right there, but I'm going to ask you this question. And I'm serious here. Next week, February 14th, Valentine's Day, right?
Yep.
I asked you, what is your go-to for Super Bowl? What's your go-to for Valentine? Because I know Emily has told me. Every year he gets me the same thing. All right? Corned beef sandwich. I don't want corned beef sandwich. I want chocolate, she says. All right? So go ahead and tell me what's your go-to Valentine's present.
My go-to Valentine's present normally for Emily is to get out of her way.
Wow. Right here, baby.
Hold on, I hear Emily there. Is that something you always want, Emily?
Is that something you always want? No. No. But normally I'm at spring training.
Hold on, do you ever get a earring, jewelry?
There you go.
Yes!
Present for me.
Do I?
Yes, do you? I don't even think you spent, in 25 years, have you even spent $1 on roses?
Of course I have.
Really?
Come here.
Let me ask
Come
Emily.
here.
When's the last time Steve Carney got you some roses? Red, blue, yellow.
Oh, she's not wearing it right now. I was going to tell her to display her Stanley Cup ring.
All right, enough. Emily, I love you, but look, get off with this guy's Stanley Cup ring. I don't know what that is.
Hold on a second. You're going to see it in here. Get it on, hon.
Oh, my gosh. What a way to end this off. This is my birthday present.
What you mean this massive thing on her finger? Look at this. How's that?
No, you know what? You're never on Fired Up Network again. That's it. It better say next.
That's it. I'm out of here. I just got fired. Oh.
Next year, around the Stanley Cup ring. But honestly, Steve, seriously, some people don't do Valentine's.
No. She's well taken care of for Valentine's Day. Usually there's some candies involved, and usually there's some flowers involved.
That's you eating them all.
No, I get steak. She knows better. Steak.
And what do you usually get me for Valentine's Day? Knowing that you're spending roses and candy and all that, Steve, can you be my Valentine?
Well,
you already put your hand down the pocket of Aaron Judge. Come on. No. All right.
You're not my type, Joe. I'm not a big fan. Not a big fan of mustaches.
Listen, this is not a mustache. This is I don't know what this is. A chia pet or something. All right, Steve Carney, one of the best. Enjoy the Super Bowl there. And who are you picking? The Eagles, right?
Eagles. -1.5.
All right, and don't forget to get your umbrella, Ella. Thanks a lot, Steve.
Thank you.
That's once again Steve Carney from Tampa Bay, St. Petersburg, giving his take in the wrestling world. We're going to close out Fired Up Live, the flagship show of the Fired Up Network, with once again Giancarlo Alino as we preview UFC 284 this Saturday from Perth, Australia. Giancarlo and I preview that. Good card. Here is the UFC On Guard show. Hey everybody, this is Joseph Hasek and welcome to the Fired Up Network. Welcome to Fired Up Live. Welcome to UFC On Guard. Guess who's back? It's Giancarlo Alino. Giancarlo, get my birthday present yet?
Yeah, it's on the way. FedEx.
On the way to when? Did you get it or not? What do you mean on the way?
Hopefully FedEx gives it to you by your next birthday.
Listen, if it's FedEx, it's 100% guaranteed shuttle to Patricia. Say hello to Patricia. It's my future wife. Say hello.
Hello.
All right. enough from you. Don't go after my future wife like other people. All right, so let's talk about UFC 284 happening Saturday. Is it Sunday in Perth, Australia? I don't know if it's Sunday, if it's Saturday, whatever, 10 p.m. And let's get to the early prelims. Let's go with a couple matches. What in the early prelims, which ones do you want to talk about?
Yeah, there's only really one here that I'm looking forward to. It's that women's strawweight fight, Loma Lookbonmi and Elise Reed there. That's an interesting one because you look at that division and you look at both their respective records. Like they have an opportunity there to just really get some like name recognition. This is going to be in Perth, Australia. You have both of these women coming out, and I think this could be a low-key fight that boosts their status there. And I'm going to go with Lookbonmi to get the win. I think the striking is going to play a factor here, and I see her getting the win there.
So that's one of the matches, early pre-show matches that you want to talk about. Let's I'll just throw in one more match here. Let's go with the main event of the early prelims: Jack Jenkins versus Don. Who are you calling in this one? Of course, Jenkins from Australia.
Yeah, I have Jack Jenkins getting the win. I think it's going to be good for him. Have the crowd behind him there. I think they'll show up early. Once they see that the early prelims feature an Australian on it, I think they'll all want to rally behind him. So I think he'll get. I don't think it'll be a full like stoppage right away. I think there's going to be some nerves early on, but I do see him getting the win.
All right, let's go to the prelims. Which bout are you excited about?
I like the main event there, that prelims. Tyson Pedro is a fighter there that has like just a lot in that division where another win extends his winning streak to 3 straight. Like his last loss was to Shogun Hua in 2018. Took some time off, came back only last year, so that's 4 years off almost, and he's looked really good. Both finishes and back-to-back fights there, so if he wins, I think the light heavyweight division might see him come out outside the top 15. He's still young. He's got some time there, but coming out of that city kickboxing team, I think there's a lot of promise there with Tyson Pedro.
And of course, Tyson, again, from Australia, so he'll have the home crowd advantage there, so that should be interesting. Again, the early prelims for this takes on UFC Fight Pass at 6 p.m. on Saturday. The prelims on TSN at 8 p.m. And of course, the pay-per-view happens at 10 p.m. Again, from Australia. Let's get to the main card, light heavyweight bout. And what do you have in this one? Number 12 versus unranked. But Jimmy looks, again, from Australia, looks like he should prevail in this one.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of hype there on Alonzo Menfield, but like Jimmy Crude, I think when you just see his record, like I know the 2 losses, he's on a 2-fight losing streak, but when you look who he lost to, it was a doctor stoppage to Anthony Lionheart Smith, and his recent loss, I know it was 48 seconds, but it was against the now light heavyweight champion. So I think Jim Crude gets back on track here. I think he gets a win, probably somewhere along the lines of a second round knockout. I'm saying I don't think it'll be a first round. I think it'll go back and forth. But I do see Jim Crude getting back on track.
How about the next bout? It's a heavyweight bout, and a guy from New Zealand, Justin Tafa, versus Parker Porter.
Yeah, this is one where, like, Parker Porter, I know the age is might play a factor. He's 37 there, and going against a guy like Justin Tafa, who's 29, trying to make a name for himself. And he's also a guy that it might favor him more, just the matchup, and I do see him getting the win. It's probably going to be 1 round. I wouldn't expect this to go the distance. It's a heavyweight fight, and both of these guys are huge. They don't come off as guys that just make the weight. It's like they have to cut down, and you saw Tafa last fight, he missed weight, so this is going to be over, I think, in 1 round.
In 1 round, so you said it's a first round. All right, so in the next bout, welterweight bout, Randy Brown taking on Jack Della, and Della, again, from Australia, and Brown from Jamaica.
Yeah, I have Jack Della Maddalena getting the win here. I think this is going to be a big performance for him. Ever since he made his debut on the Contender Series, got the contract, he's undefeated in the UFC, all first round finishes, and I think he continues that. Like, he has 11 knockouts and 13 of his wins, so that's a great finishing rate. I think he continues that, and he's going to be a guy in this whole division that everyone's going to look at after this event. Perth, Australia. He's in that welterweight division. He can go to middleweight, I think, even if he wanted to. But I think he's a prospect that delivers. I don't think we'll see a Paddy Pimblett type performance out of him.
Yeah, well, let's hope we don't see that performance, because nobody wants to see that again. All right, co-main event, featherweight interim title, Rodriguez versus Emmett. This should be, no pun intended, a slobber knocker.
Yeah, this is a really good fight. I'm surprised that they made this Yair Rodriguez versus Josh Emmett. I think Arnold Allen, a lot of people thought would have been that guy, but Emmett deserves it. He's going after a top fighter who has an exciting style. He can throw things all over the place sometimes, and he's unorthodox where he can catch them with a spinning heel kick. So I think Yair Rodriguez has the advantage here. I think he wins the interim title, and he earns himself either a unification bout, depending on what happens, or I think he even defends it if whatever happens in the main event doesn't really go against the odd makers, what they're saying. So I got Yair Rodriguez being the interim champion.
And the main event of UFC 284 this Saturday, February 11th, 10 p.m., the pay-per-view starts. It's champ versus champ. Who's coming out as the champ?
Yeah, Volkanovski is right now coming up and trying to do what Conor McGregor did and be a two-division champion and hold both the featherweight and lightweight titles at the same time. I know a lot of people are just assuming Islam Makhachev is going to take him down and beat him easily, but I'll go with the upset here. I'll go Alexander Volkanovski beats Islam Makhachev.
Really? And do you really think that, Makhachev, who's been really, really on a roll here, is going to lose maybe by knockout, or is it at a 5-round decision?
I'll go with the finish. I'll go Volkanovski catches him, and the home crowd there in Australia goes crazy. Volkanovski gets a title, and maybe we see a rematch. But I think Yair Rodriguez winning the interim title, I think he defends that, and Volkanovski and Makhachev run it back again.
All right, so that's UFC 284 this Saturday from Perth, Australia. Now, getting some just UFC news, and then we'll close it out. You talked about Conor. It looks like a match is set for the, I guess, summertime, let's put it that way. Conor McGregor coming back to the octagon. Tell everybody against who, and who's your call in that one?
Yeah, he's going to be taking on Michael Chandler. They're going to be coaching The Ultimate Fighter, and I think this will probably be end of August or end of September type of thing, depending on what happens on The Ultimate Fighter and when they want to actually do the fight. So I don't know if it's at 170 pounds and they both turn into a striking battle. Maybe Conor McGregor gets it done, but if Michael Chandler just takes advantage and knows that, you know what, I've got this fight now, I'm just going to go back to what made me this high caliber fighter and use this wrestling, I go Michael Chandler.
So if Michael Chandler wins, is McGregor heading to the WWE? Because he can't. What is there left? Would you want to see a WWE bout between Paul and McGregor?
Oh, no. I wouldn't want to see that. I think whoever loses this, it wouldn't really matter, because if they're going to have this as a welterweight bout and they're both primarily lightweights, I think both of them can spin it where, yeah, it was just a fight at 170 pounds. I think Conor McGregor can find another opponent that he can beat. And Chandler, if he loses, I think he can just go back down the lightweight and find maybe a top 7, top 8 guy and fight him next.
All right. Since we last did an MMA or UFC show, we found out that John Jones is back. John Jones next month takes on, well, this is a bout that, did you want to see this bout, or did you want to see him against Stipe or somebody else?
Yeah, I think everyone wanted to see him fight Francis Ngannou, but Ngannou declined the UFC's offer, and he wants to take advantage of being a free agent. Doesn't mean he doesn't he's out of the UFC completely. He can always go back, but I think they want to do John Jones, him getting the title, him fight Stipe Miocic again in the summer, and maybe by then Francis Ngannou will be done with his boxing, and he'll want to go and fight back in the UFC. So it's all going to come down to what Francis Ngannou wants to do.
All right, and finally, let's get to Bellator. Have we seen the last of the Russian bear, Fedor Emelianenko?
Yeah, I hope so. Like, he's 46 years old. He lost to Bader.
Well, I'm 49 now. Come on, I still have, come on, 46. Don't say because he's old. He's old. He's too slow. He's not a bear no more. He's more like a cat.
Yeah, he doesn't need to fight anymore. Like, I think we saw with Bader, like, it was nice. Like, I know they wanted to give him other fights. Like, Anderson Silva's name was thrown out there, and they wanted to just go in other directions, but Fedor wanted the title fight. They gave it to him, the rematch with Bader, and it went longer than the first fight, but Bader still got his hand raised. So it was a nice moment there with the legends all coming out in the cage with him, and I think that was a perfect send-off. I don't think he needs to fight again.
All right, Giancarlo Lino, tell everybody how they could get a hold of you. And Giancarlo, I get millions and millions of questions from a guy named Marty Ruberts. You know him? Anyways, he says, what's happening with the soccer show? How come he doesn't see Giancarlo, John Nelson, and Carmen Asako? I do not want to answer this question. So you, because I'm the producer, I'm sort of co-host producer, and I'm getting fed up of people saying that, and then they got soccer practice and this practice and that practice. All right, do you want to answer this question?
The only way I can answer is I have no idea. So,
right. So it's not your fault, right? You're saying it's not your fault, and it's not John Nelson's fault. So
it's not Carmen Asako's fault. So I don't know.
Well, listen. You at least sent me a birthday greeting, even though you didn't send me any cash, any Tim Horton tidbits or anything.
FedEx
like
should. I don't know if it's all.
Don't blame FedEx. I said FedEx. Patricia's there. Takes care of me, all right? Take care of me. But Carmen Asako failed to take me to Nino Naversa, failed to even text me, failed to call me. This is on Carmen Asako right now, all right? I'll deal with Carmen. We'll have a face-to-face off here, hopefully on the soccer show. But Giancarlo, will tell everybody how they could get a hold of you.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at John_411, Instagram, Giancarlo_Alino, and check out my articles on firedupnetwork.ca and sportskeeda.com.
What do you have on Sportskeeda? I last time I seen you wrote an MMA or wrestling article was back in December. So what have you wrote in the meantime for Sportskeeda that you can't write here?
Oh, I wrote a Fedor article on firedupnetwork.ca on Saturday night. So
see. Yeah, but that's a week old already. Come on. I want you to write an article on why the president of the provinces of Canada will kick the Russian bear. All right?
Who's a Russian bear?
Fedor Emelianenko.
Oh, the last emperor?
49. Yeah, I call him Russian bear now. 49 versus 46. Would you want to see that pay-per-view?
Yeah, sure. If whoever wants to dish out the money to put that together, all power to them.
All right. That's Giancarlo Lino. Thanks a lot, Giancarlo.
Thanks.
Well, that will conclude another outstanding edition of the flagship show, Fired Up Live, here on the Fired Up Network. Don't forget, Fired Up Network, also FEM, part of Fired Up Network. I'd like to thank Courtney Riddle, Renaissance Mama, also Samantha Walters with Black History Month, Drew Ebanks, Anthony K with the NBA Jump Ball NBA Trade Deadline coverage, Steve Carney, his thoughts on Major League Baseball, Steve Carney once again with his thoughts on wrestling, and Giancarlo Alino with both the wrestling show, On the Mat Wrestling Show, a preview of NWA Enough Said this Saturday night, February 11th from Tampa, and a preview of UFC 284 from Perth, Australia. Now, tomorrow, tune in to the Fired Up Network as you can hear us and see us at 11:30. There may be or may not be a soccer show between 11:30 and noon. And then later on in the day, we're going to have at least an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours of Super Bowl 57 pre-game coverage, all here on the Fired Up Network. And once again, we're now on WURL.com. Over 300 million TVs are watching us. Hi, Roku. Hi, other companies. And World, we're so excited to be with World, WURL.com. And once again, I'd like to take this special opportunity and wish this past week, February 2nd, good friend of mine, Jack Cassasi's birthday, February 3rd, Norm DaCosta and Howard Berger, February 4th, Nina Bambihi, February 5th, good friend of mine, Joe Benchlush's kid's birthday, February 6th, Alan Small's birthday, February 8th, as I mentioned several times, referee for Fired Up Network, Daniel Spencer, Marty Roberts, Old Lefty 22, and as well, myself. I'd like to thank my family, my sister, her husband, the kids, my mom, dad, great presents, great and everybody who sent out email, text, phone call, Facebook message, say wishing happy birthday. Also like to thank my girlfriend, Patricia, who went out of her way yesterday to show how much she loves the President of the Provinces of Canada, the Mayor of North America, and also I want to thank Alexis for her gift and everything like that. And for people who didn't call, didn't text, didn't email, shame on you. Birthdays are meant to be celebrated. We don't know if we're going to last another year, another day, another hour. Why can't you just call, text, anything like that? Shame on you. Also, today, Courtney Riddell's birthday. We saw her on Renaissance Mama. Other cousin Heather's birthday. And don't forget, February 12th is the Super Bowl. February 14th, it is Valentine's Day. And next Thursday, there will be, I know some of you fans have asked me, will there be another Fired Up Live next week, since it's your sister's birthday, February 16th. And, of course, being you who set up the example, you're the President of the Provinces of Canada, the Mayor-elect of North America, who sets the example, who's the better-looking one in the Pasek family, who grinds, who hustles, who does everything. Will there be a Fired Up Live? The answer is yes. Simple. Yes. If this was my sister, who's turning 47, looks good for 47, let me tell you, all right? Well, if this was my sister, she had to do her hair, her makeup, and work on some woodworking and everything like that. But next week's next week. Till tomorrow, where we'll hopefully be doing a soccer show. If not, we'll be doing a Super Bowl 57 preview. The Eagles, the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Andy Reid, Sirianni. It's going to be a good game. Big ups for that game. Hopefully we'll see a lot of smash in your face smashes. The NFL Super Bowl and NFL honors just occurred today. We'll have all the details tomorrow. I bid you adieu. That means goodbye. Hasta luego. Sayonara. Shalom. I don't know how many other language I could say goodbye in, but till tomorrow, have a